0226 636 978 0226 or advancedentistrynow.com. That's Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
News, analysis, and opinion.
Let the American people see what's going on here.
News Talk STL.
Pay close attention.
St. Louis is number one.
Bottom line is this. St. Louis is number one.
For conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
June 14th, 2024. I'm Jared Halpern. The Supreme Court weighs in on another abortion access case, this time finding consensus on federal regulations.
9-0, and yes, there are unanimous decisions on difficult topics, is that they just didn't have standing, meaning they couldn't come forward and show that there was an injury for which they had legal redress.
I'm Chris Foster. Some of the best soccer in the world is being played over the next 30 days with big tournaments on either side of the world. Team USA will be competing in stadiums around the U.S.
Don't let anybody tell you that America is not a soccer country. Right. Don't let anybody tell you that America is not a passionate soccer country. And sure as hell, don't let anybody tell you that America doesn't have a soccer history.
We're joined by Alexi Lawless and Stu Holden from Fox Sports.
And I'm Tom Shalhoub. I've got the final word on the Fox News Rundown.
The Supreme Court has spoken for the first time since justices overturned Roe v. Wade on an abortion case. This opinion, a unanimous ruling keeping in place more relaxed rules from the FDA on the abortion drug mifepristone. The medication is used in nearly 2/3 of abortions in the U.S., the most common way to end a pregnancy. Justice Brett Kavanaugh, who was in the majority upending abortion laws by overturning Roe 2 years ago, penned this decision, finding the anti-abortion group bringing the challenge has no standing, no right to sue in this case. He says their complaints are not fit for federal courts, but rather by making their case to the FDA, Congress, and voters. President Biden's re-election campaign is certainly hoping voters are engaged on this issue in November. Following the ruling, Biden-Harris campaign manager Julie Chavez Rodriguez told reporters,
what the president will make clear on the debate stage is the clear choice in front of voters and the clear contrast of, someone like Donald Trump, who, as we've been talking about, appointed a Supreme Court justice that overturned Roe.
The ruling may not settle the issue at the high court either. This unanimous ruling focused on procedure and not the policy behind the challenge.
There were a group of pro-life doctors and others who tried to demonstrate that they had some kind of injury, some kind of legal standing for this.
Shannon Bream is the host of Fox News Sunday and the chief legal affairs correspondent for Fox News.
And so what the court found, as you said, 9-0, and yes, there are unanimous decisions on difficult topics, is that they just didn't have standing, meaning they couldn't come forward and show that there was an injury for which they had legal redress. Now, as we've talked about, there were a number of states who tried to intervene in this case. They also wanted to be parties or plaintiffs to this case. The court did not allow that. And so what that leaves you with is these states now say, whatever happens with this case, if it fell apart on standing, they will file. So we'll now wait to see if some of those states actually do it. Of course, it would take months, really years, to get this back to the Supreme Court. And they don't have to take the case if they don't want to. But so they've said nothing on the merits of what the FDA has done with mifepristone, lifting some of the restrictions and changing them. But these states are determined to get that question back before them.
Would states have a different claim in the standing kind of context?
I think what they're probably going to argue is we have passed a state law that outlaws abortion. And by the FDA allowing mifepristone to be sent through the mail and without doctor visits and those kinds of things, we have standing to challenge that it's going to violate our state law. That would be my guess.
This 9-0 decision written by Justice Kavanaugh doesn't really talk about whether or not the FDA exceeded any sort of statutory authority in relaxing these rules. It didn't get to that part of the case.
Exactly. And that had been the thing, because some people had wrongly thought, okay, this is about taking mifepristone off the market altogether. That was never the case. It was about these changes they made at one point, allowing it later into pregnancy from 7 weeks to 10 weeks, and then some changes about whether you had to have actual physical doctor visits and follow-up. That changed a lot of that during COVID, where they said, oh no, these can be sent through the mail. You don't actually have to see a doctor in person, those kinds of things. That's what was challenged, not access to the drug overall. And the court allowed the drug to be fully accessed during the pendency of these cases. But yeah, what they've said is like, we're not going to touch these issues about how the FDA is regulating mifepristone because we just don't get to the merits of the case. These doctors are not the right ones to sue.
Yeah, it was interesting to read this opinion, Justice Kavanaugh saying that, these concerns are legitimate, that they are sincere, but he said the federal courts are the wrong forum for addressing these concerns about FDA's actions, basically saying that if you'd like, you can lobby the president, you can lobby the FDA, you can lobby Congress, but that's about it. So
yeah,
this seemed
there
to
are
be
other
a
avenues.
case. And we've talked about that, right? Where the Supreme Court is wary of like stepping into an area where they don't think they have a role. Is this kind of section of the opinion a nod to the idea that the FDA has some broad authority here as it relates to how they regulate drugs?
Well, yeah, because remember there were questions during the arguments. I want to say Justice Kagan, I'd have to go back to my notes or the transcript. But I think she was the one who was asking, well, who do we want regulating drugs? I mean, do you want somebody who has nothing to do with knowledge of how these drugs work or impact patients or haven't studied them actually making the decisions? Or do you want experts like the people who staff the FDA? Now, that gets us potentially to another big case that we're waiting on, which is that Chevron decision, which talks about how much deference you give to federal agencies and bureaucracies where people are not elected and they're not, voters can't hold them directly accountable. But for now, they didn't even get to that analysis. I'll be interested to see, though, when we get that Chevron case, looking at agency action, whether the FDA is part of that discussion.
I mean, it sounds like the justices should create a lot of work for themselves, too. Do we have any other major abortion cases we're working on? I mean, what's the next? What is the next kind of arena in which abortion access hits the Supreme Court, if at all?
Well, they've got a case that they're considering out of Idaho, and it's a little bit of a quieter case, but it deals with this federal law that was passed decades ago to make sure that people who show up at hospitals with emergency needs are able to get that care, whether they have insurance or not, money or not, whatever. I mean, it was passed to make sure that people who show up get treated in emergency rooms. And so when it became clear that there would be a real challenge to Roe v. Wade, and that was coming, and it did come, the Biden administration was looking around at a regulatory way to address some of that. And so what they said was, through this, it's the law, abbreviated, is called EMTALA, it's the federal law. Hey, all of you states and hospitals and people out there that are connected to Medicare and have federal connections, federal money connections, you're going to have to make sure you provide abortions in an emergency setting. They say that's in conflict now with some states who say, in Idaho, they basically, with very few exceptions, it's really tough to get an abortion there now. It's another sticking point that pits the states and feds against each other. And we'll see. I mean, we're still waiting on that decision too.
I want to talk a little bit about one of the justices here, Justice Samuel Alito. Obviously, there's been a lot of reporting the last several weeks, these flags and the intent of flying these flags on his properties. But this story took an additional turn, if we want to call it that, this week with the publication of these secretly recorded conversations that Alito had with, I guess, for lack of a better description, sort of an undercover reporter, right? This was recorded at an event for the Supreme Court Historical Society. Sort of catch me up, Shannon, on, first of all, what that event is, how this audio was collected, and what it means ultimately for Justice Alito and the Supreme Court writ large.
So it is an historical society that people can become members of. And there's this big dinner, usually in June at the Supreme Court. And the justices are there. And listen, they're so wary of interfacing with the public already. I think this is not going to help that. But this person who, had a ticket and attended and had every right to be there also decided to use it as an opportunity to record conversations with various people, including the Chief Justice, Justice Alito, Mrs. Alito. And she posed to somebody who it appears is much more conservative or religious than she is personally in her life, to try to get them to say some things. Now, what struck me when I saw and heard the recording from Justice Alito, I thought, this is the kind of stuff he says publicly. I mean, if you heard his graduation speech he gave a few weeks ago, I think it was at Franciscan, he said many of these same things. There was nothing shocking to me in it, maybe because, I just cover him and I know, and I'm aware that he says these things, that there are fundamental truths and that there are attacks on religious liberty. He's said that for a long time. And clearly he and Mrs. Alito are very open about their devout Catholic faith. So I didn't hear anything surprising in there. Now, the conversation she had with Mrs. Alito was much more personal in nature. And there are people even on the left who are uncomfortable with that, saying, listen, this is a private citizen. You cozied up to her, tried to pretend like you were friends and that you shared her viewpoints and then recorded her, which is legal in DC. It's a one-party consent area, so there's nothing criminal about it. But even folks like, Dick Durbin, who is the senator who chairs the Senate Judiciary Committee and has been super critical of Justices Alito and Thomas and what's going on at the court. Even he said, I'm uncomfortable with this, with the way that this went down. So to me, nothing shocking in the recording from Justice Alito or from the chief. But it raises a lot of questions about whether these folks are going to go to any of these events anymore.
This was posted on X, formerly Twitter, by a sort of liberal filmmaker. She's been pretty clear about her views in all of this. To your point, I thought it was notable that the chief didn't engage at all.
No, he was like, I don't care or know who you are, and I will not be having any personal conversations with you. I mean, he kept it as bland as possible. I just
surprises nobody who's covered John Roberts.
Right. If you know him, he's probably the most circumspect person you will ever talk to, especially if he has no idea who you are. He's going to be very guarded.
I just want to reiterate to your point. You said that there does not appear to be any criminality here, that this is an event that anybody can buy a ticket. I think tickets are kind of pricey, but anybody can buy a ticket to and attend. Well, and that, but that issue
if you're
in
part
and
of the historical society, if you're part of the historical society, I believe you can buy a ticket and for a guest. So I think she may be a member of the society or was a member of a guest.
That has raised some ethical questions, though, about the court, hasn't it? Just sort of this kind of access that ticket purchasers can have to justices. Sort of aside from the recordings and stuff, are these the type of events now that, if the Senate looks into these kind of ethical guides would be on the chopping block?
Maybe, but the vast majority of the money, as I understand it, for the society goes to charitable funds. Both in preservation of the court, but other things as well. So it has always been touted as completely nonpartisan, as many justices as they can get there can come. And if you're a member of the society in good standing, then you can come as well. And nobody's asking about, partisan affiliations or anything like that. Yeah.
Let me finish with this, because you had some really cool reporting this week on compiling, I guess we can call them maybe not shortlist. They were a little longer than shortlist, but we're starting to get a picture of who both President Biden and former President Trump may be considering for future openings on the Supreme Court. As I was looking at your list, particularly from Biden, I saw a lot of names that I think were pretty familiar when he was sort of narrowing the field to nominate Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Yeah, and there are a lot of judges here who are federal judges. There are state judges, former, federal state judges as well. But other names that people would recognize: Lisa Monaco, who's the Deputy Attorney General right under Attorney General Garland. That would be a very interesting pick to me. Also, Elizabeth Prelogar, who you and I hear her argue cases, the U.S. Solicitor General at the Supreme Court all the time. That would make a lot of sense to a lot of folks. My favorite conspiracy theory, though, which we do not include in our article, is that one of the justices is going to step down before the election. The president's going to nominate the vice president, so Kamala Harris would become a justice, and the ticket would be wide open. I mean, listen, people get all over the place. We're trying to give you facts here of who we think, if President Biden wins another term, after that, who he might choose. So yeah, we give you a very long list of people. Some of them are names you would recognize if you followed this last time around. But when the president made clear he was going to choose a woman of color for that next open position, but we have people who do not fit that description who are also on this list. And I think it's interesting. There's growing pressure. We've seen it on Justice Sotomayor to step down before the election, but I saw an article this week that named Justice Kagan as well. I don't think either one of them are going anywhere. And
as far as Supreme Court justices are concerned, they're not like particularly old, are they?
No, they're not at all. I think the thing with Justice Sotomayor, she's been open about her health challenges, and she was very careful during COVID. And she's open about the fact that she's a diabetic and has at times traveled with medical personnel with her. But she seems, from all the arguments I attended this year, within a matter of just weeks ago, April 25th, I think was the last argument on Trump immunity, seemed totally fine to me and in no hurry to go anywhere.
It's a good read. I would encourage our listeners, because you also include fun facts about all of
We do.
I like the fun facts. I did not know that the current Solicitor General is a former Miss Idaho.
Well, she was in Miss Idaho, but I'm like, I think that's super interesting because a lot of people think, I too competed in Miss America last century. And it's just an interesting little nugget because you get so much scholarship money through that. And I'm guessing that was part of her calculation too.
Sure.
It obviously forces you to get out there and to speak publicly and do things that are very terrifying if you have any stage fright.
Sure.
But it can fund your education too. So I thought, that's a fun little nugget.
We have, you for, I figure if you can handle that, you can probably get in front of the justices.
Listen, I think it's terrifying. I don't know what you think. We're sitting there in the court, though. I'm like, the last thing I think I'd want to do is to stand before these 9 and just get eviscerated for an hour.
Sure.
But But the Solicitor General seems very much up to the task.
I think she enjoys it. They seem to enjoy it as well.
Yep.
We have a few more, as we were talking before we got started, a lot of opinions left, more expected this Friday morning. So we'll look for those and continue to follow your reporting. Shannon Bream, and we'll also, of course, be watching Sunday morning for Fox News Sundays. Shannon Bream, always a treat to talk to you on an opinion day. Thanks so much.
It is my pleasure. Thanks, Jared.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
Are you having trouble hearing the TV or radio and keeping up with conversations? It's time to discover Audion Hearing. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, the Audion Atom 2 series offers superior sound quality and functionality for a fraction of the price. For just $189 a pair, the Atom 2 series is our smallest hearing aid yet, featuring advanced background noise cancellation, 4 different hearing modes for all types of hearing loss. It packs crystal clear sound, a nearly invisible design, and is even rechargeable.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids. They're so comfortable, and the sound is amazing.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed without seeing a doctor or having a hearing test.
Join over 500,000 happy customers today. Call 800-996-9885. That's 800-996-9885. 800-996-9885. Or go to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GA-won't-wait.
Columbo and Katie.
Lots of speculation today as Trump just announced he has a pretty good idea of who his VP will be. We'll discuss it Friday with Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams. Plus, we'll get the weekend forecast from Steve Templeton at 2:45.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Looking to get a new carpet, hardwood, or tile installed quickly and efficiently in your home? Look no further than Michael's Flooring Outlet. Michael's Flooring Outlet is a family-owned and operated business with a 30-year history of offering a diverse array of high-quality options in flooring. My parents and in-laws used Michael's to rip up their old carpet and replace it. They are both happy with the product and installation from Michael's. You can shop at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Darting Prairie, or St. Peter's, or you can check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
It's a pretty simple concept.
It is clear to me.
Let me make this clear.
Big events.
Your news and your opinions.
We're going to get out there and be heard.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Our voices are never heard in the media. We, the people, will always find a way.
And it's about time that we start putting up or shutting up.
Yeah, and you should come. You should listen to many voices.
101.9 and 94.1.
Their phone lines have surely been burning up.
News Talk STL.
Directly in my face and spat at me.
What's going on campuses now reminds me of World War II.
Just imagine what would have happened if Hitler had TikTok.
Anti-Semitism in America, narrated by Benjamin Hall, only on Fox Nation.
Providing a full picture of the news. You're listening to the Fox News Rundown. More up next.
This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
Danny Define here, host of the all-new show, The Next Gen, with me, Danny Define. We're going to cover all the hard-hitting topics on this show, from national headlines to things happening right here in St. Louis.
Next Gen with Danny Define.
Join me every Sunday at 10 p.m. right here on News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Pat Fader of Comprehensive Chiropractic. Doc, I hear you all have a new treatment program for everyone's chronic knee pain.
Tim, that's right. We are helping patients with chronic knee pain by addressing the root cause of their condition.
And what makes your program so unique?
Well, Tim, many programs focus on just one component of the problem, the structural component. Our program focuses on the metabolic and neurological component to complete the picture and improve our patients' outcomes. We get to the root cause of what is driving inflammation in a person's body and address it directly.
For your chronic knee pain and more, visit cchiropractic.com. All information, make an appointment at cchiropractic.com.
Looking for the ultimate golfing experience in St. Louis? Look no further than Sugar Creek Golf Course. As the most popular golf course in the region, Sugar Creek offers 18 holes of challenging play, designed for all skill levels on rolling country hills with stunning views. But it's not just about the game, it's about the experience. Friendly staff, new Yamaha golf carts, freshly paved cart paths, and renovated clubhouse will make your day on the course a pleasure. Sugar Creek Golf Course, the perfect place to bring your team or friends together. Book your tee time today at sugarcreekgolfcourse.com. That's sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
Old man winter in the rearview mirror. Warmer weather here. Time to call Hanson's Tree Service. 636-379-1830. 24/7 at hansonstree.com. This is the perfect time to spruce up and beautify your landscape beds. When you purchase organic mulch in bulk from Hanson's, you save on price, time, and incredibly convenient. Tons of commercial and residential tree care services as well. Grinding and land clearing, plant health care, and more. 636-379-1830, hansonstree.com, hansonstree.com.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go, and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. CarShield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Friday, let's take a look at a new Rasmussen poll about President Biden's mental acuity, ACUITY. So Rasmussen asked a bunch of people in the USA, do you feel President Biden is getting less and less mentally sharp? 57% of Americans say yes. 34% say no. 10% are not sure. So 44% of the American public either believes Biden is mentally sharp or doesn't know. That's almost half. So the cliche is, are you kidding me? Do you not have eyes and ears? This is a primo example of people believing what they want to believe, not what is true, not what is factual. The President of the United States walks like a toddler, okay? A 6-year-old could beat him in a walking race. That's physical. If you watch his speeches, you will see he has a lot of trouble getting through them, even though he rehearses all the time. Back after this. You can now watch new episodes of the No Spin News live on Samsung TV Plus. Tune in each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV for breaking news, honest analysis, and the best election coverage in America. Please join me, Bill O'Reilly, at the First TV, now available on Samsung TV Plus. Start watching today on your Samsung television, Galaxy devices, or the Samsung TV Plus mobile app. Check out the No Spin News each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV, Samsung TV Plus. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Hot and humid through the evening. We'll have to watch for a few storms by late evening after 10 o'clock, even a strong storm possible. But the general trend seems to be that the stronger storms to the north will be weakening, maybe even falling apart altogether as they move south. We'll just have to monitor that for late evening. A few storms overnight possible, but dry by daybreak with a low of 72. A high of 91 Friday. It's muggy to start, but the humidity drops throughout the day. Pretty pleasant by the evening. Saturday, a hot 92. Heat index 93 and partly cloudy. Sunday, mostly sunny. Heat ramps up 99 on Father's Day for the high. Heat index around 103. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, this is Mark McCloskey. Check out my show, Mark McCloskey on Fire, Sunday afternoon at 5 here on News Talk STL. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
It's not quite partying like it's 1999, but how about buying gas like it's pre-Joe Biden? Like buying gas like it's 2019. How about that? Well, you can actually do that today here in the region. And a little bit later on, we're going to tell you exactly where and how to do it and how it's being made possible, because I think it's just one day that you could do it. All right, good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Flashback Friday. Appreciate you making News Talk STL part of your day. That's just part of what we've got going on today. Going to talk to our good friend Paul Curtman here in about 20 minutes. Yeah, we got a few things to review before we head into the weekend. Okay, we had, I think a really informative conversation yesterday with the Washington Stand's Suzanne Bowdy. She wrote that article that observed that a lot of the pro sports teams, a lot of the big businesses are not really leaning into the whole pride rainbow flag thing as much this year. It's not that none of them are doing it, but it's not as big of a priority for as many of these massive institutions. And why do you think that is? Because of the public pushback? Yeah, I'm sure it's part of it. But then again, why is the Biden administration seemingly trying to make up for what's being lost on that side of the ideology, of that side of the debate? Well, Suzanne wrote about that in the Washington Stand, and she was with us on Thursday to give us her take on it. Here's what she had to say. At the beginning of June, there's something that we all see, whether it's social media or in displays at retail establishments, maybe at your work, and that is a reference to Pride Month. A lot of people recognizing Pride Month or doing something for Pride Month. But you also may or may not have noticed that on the large scale, some national organizations aren't speaking out as much as they used to. Why is that? Let's dig into that. I'm Mike Ferguson. I found a really interesting article at the Washington Stand's website. It says major sports leagues dump pride as Biden fights to fill the void. And you can find that at WashingtonStand.com. It was written by Suzanne Bowdy, and she joins us right now. Suzanne, thank you so much for being on the program. It's interesting that it's sort of quiet how fewer pro sports teams and leagues are doing even the little things like the social media post or changing the profile. But the numbers of them, as you're pointing out in your article, are fairly significant and worth looking at.
Definitely. And I believe everyday Americans all around the country who've been very persistent in speaking up on this issue over the last year, I think really since the Dylan Mulvaney, we like to call it Can-Gate over at Bud Light, Americans have really felt empowered to make their voices heard. And they should be proud, because what's happened over this last year is that companies are actually afraid now, not of the activists, the LGBT activists, the big organizations, but they're afraid of grassroots outrage on this LGBT issue. And we found this year that that's not just happening in corporations, where we've seen a huge decline in the number of even major brands who are celebrating Pride or even just sort of scaling back or putting it on the back burner like Target. But that spillover effect is happening in sports. And I think it's a very significant sea change in what we're seeing across America right now.
Well, let's talk about that sea change, because just a few years ago, this conversation you and I are having right now would have been just basically unthinkable, because if you didn't have some sort of pride something, you were in trouble with those activists and it just wasn't worth it for these businesses. So some would say, okay, well, what's caused that sea change? Because before it may have been, hey, this is a demographic, this is a marketing group, we're going to target them like everybody else, live and let live. So what has changed between then and now that's made it more of a toxic thing to step on from a marketing or from a public relations perspective?
I think you can trace this back to Donald Trump, to Ron DeSantis, to Brian Kemp, all of these leaders who actually were not afraid to speak up and to take on the woke mob, whether that's at Wall Street, whether that's in sports, wherever that is. You know, we saw in in Georgia and I believe 2020, 2021, where they passed that voter integrity law, and Coca-Cola and Delta and all these big corporations, jumped in immediately, said this was a horrible bill. And Brian Kemp stood up and said, hey, look, you need to read the bill. There's nothing in here that disenfranchises anyone. That really emboldened people. From there, Ron DeSantis took on Disney. And I think everyday Americans decided, okay, we can speak into this. Like in the past, I think boycotts have sort of been hit or miss. I don't even like to call them boycotts, more like consumer activism. But then I think there was just this momentum that was building, and Americans who were so fed up decided, okay, then I'm going to take my dollars elsewhere. You saw with the Dylan Mulvaney thing, I think people thought, okay, this is one company we can all target. And the transgender issue, to be honest, being hitched onto this LGB has really, I think, been the sort of tipping point for a lot of people who say, okay, I'm fine with your rainbow flags, but I'm not fine with you saying we should be in favor of child mutilation or pronouns. Or I think a lot of people see that as over the top. So the transgender thing, which we saw at Target, which we saw being celebrated in drag shows at the Dodgers game, really, I think, pushed this issue to a point where most Americans said enough.
And when you mention in the article, once again, major sports leagues dump pride as Biden fights to fill the void, you can find it at WashingtonStand.com. I noticed that the 11 NFL teams that you listed as not having engaged this year, not doing a promotion, with the exception of the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is kind of upper Northwest, Midwest, all of those teams were in the middle of the country. None of those were the East or West Coast. Is there any significance to that?
I don't, that's a really interesting question. I think it probably comes down to management there. I'm sure that a lot of these owners are relieved to have a chance to say, we don't want to participate, or maybe they're hosting a Pride night, but they don't want to drape their logos in social media colors. I mean, I think there was some analysis that some of the Midwest teams, some of the more Southern teams finally felt like they could just say, well, we're not going to participate, but it's a third of the league. And I know that the left is panicking. They're saying, oh my gosh, well, we need to gin up some more support. But a third of the league is a significant amount of teams, especially for the NFL, which is, they've had the Colin Kaepernick, they've had the Black Lives Matter. It's not like they're shy of embracing political issues, especially on the left.
Yeah, very left-wing in a lot of different ways. And so is this a matter of, because I know, for instance, after the Dylan Mulvaney thing, I think there were conservative pundits who wanted to take credit for leading a boycott. But Suzanne, to me, it just almost looked more like a market response rather than a targeted boycott. I mean, is this a matter of the free market speaking? And at some point, these sports leagues, Major League Baseball, the NFL, NBA, and some of the others, that they just simply crossed the line and we didn't know where the line was until they crossed it?
I think that's a really great way of putting it. I mean, I honestly think consumers themselves just overwhelmingly made these issues radioactive for marketers. I mean, there was just a poll in Vox just this past week that said 80% of executives are now nervous to do any sort of messaging on issues like LGBT activism. That's shocking to me. And the amount of time that we've seen this shift for marketers to say, we're not okay with that. And I do think some of it can also be traced. If you remember back last year, the NHL, Ivan Provorov took a stand in January where he said, now the NHL's tradition is all the players have to wear pride jerseys. They're forced to wear a political message that they may or may not agree with. And he said, you know what, I'm not doing it. And the NHL learned firsthand that it was a huge mistake and he became, a rallying cry, much like Harrison Butker has become a rallying cry. His jersey sold out overnight. Other players started standing up saying, we're not doing this. At the end of the day, the NHL decided at the end of the season, okay, we're never doing this again. Shortly after that, Major League Baseball said, okay, we're also not doing Pride Night. And I think that's also helped to galvanize people. And in the jersey sales, you see that Americans are with these people. Like they agree with their right to free speech. And it's just exploded across markets, across industries, across sports.
Okay, let me ask you about the second part of the story. Biden fights to fill the void. When you separate out the sports aspect of it and some of the teams backing off, what is it that the Biden administration is doing that people need to know about when it comes to promoting, whether it's an agenda or just taking the role of government too far?
Right. Well, I would say this is the one issue that I think Biden has lived up to every promise he's ever made. And the LGBT community ought to be very happy with what Biden's done, because it's all he's focused on. I mean, we have an open border, we have fentanyl crisis, we have China, we have an Israeli war. And what is he doing? His administration is going to 200 Pride events this month of June, not fixing the crises, not fixing the problems that we have across the globe. But right now, he's using your taxpayer dollars to promote Pride across every single federal government agency platform. We did a survey of all the platforms, even the U.S. Post Office, the FAA, the USDA, government agencies, all 100% all in for Pride. And of course, Joe Biden doesn't have to worry about the economic backlash like, say, a CEO or an executive at Target has to worry about, because he's using your tax dollars to do it. So, and I think there is a conscientious effort on the part of the White House. They see that the momentum for Pride Month for LGBT issues is not there. They see this pulling back in the mainstream culture, and I think they're rushing to say, "Oh, but it still matters," and then just using all of their power to push that message out where there isn't a message from, say, the NFL or MLB or NHL.
Suzanne, how do people follow what you do and maybe get in touch if they want to learn more about what you're working on?
Sure. Yeah. WashingtonStand.com is where you can find, we're daily, obviously updating that. We have a great team of reporters and op-ed writers. So I would suggest they go there, and certainly can comment on our social media, also on X and Instagram. So we'd love to catch up with people. But
right.
Keep up the pressure. I think it's working.
Suzanne, thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you.
First morning news dump of the day coming your way here in just about 2 minutes and 12 seconds, right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Listen anytime.
It happens
anywhere, everywhere.
Every day continues to bring more news
with the News Talk STL app. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
I heard the call to serve, so I answered. I earned a title and discovered my purpose. I found belonging, an unbreakable bond with my fellow Marines. We fought to overcome adversity together in defense of our nation and its people. I've lived a full life, rich with meaning. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will always look after those around me. I will always uplift and support my country and my community. Because that is the promise I made. That is what it means to be a Marine. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful, always Marine.
News Talk STL. Always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or newstalkstl.com. Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
Okay, good Lord. Who was using this station last?
I have no idea.
They're deaf.
It might be Tim. I think he cranks up his headphones.
Get your ears checked. Man, I plugged in my headphones in about...
Your head exploded.
My goodness. All right. Didn't pay for insurance. Haven't paid the fees to get your real tags. We got the temp tag thing going around St. Louis. Hey, City Hall's going to pay for it for you.
How nice of them.
How very nice of them. But is it really nice of them?
No,
we'll talk about that here in a little bit. I'm really annoyed by this. Also, want cheap gas?
Yes. Yes, please.
Well, I'm going to tell you where to find cheap gas this afternoon.
Okay. You are the man with the stats.
Something like that. All right. And championship football happens in St. Louis this weekend. Will San Antonio and Birmingham show up?
I hope so.
Yeah. Everybody's around the UFL and they're saying, come on, St. Louis, make this happen. Or, they're expecting St. Louis to carry it again, to carry the league again. I think we should turn the question, go, hey, San Antonio, Birmingham, your teams are in the championship. Why are you looking at us to fill the dome?
Yeah, come on in. We're wide open here. We've got room for you. Get in here.
Oh, yeah. All right. 5:53 right now. I'm Mike. That's Stell. St. Louis, the city government is setting up a fund to pay for residents' late property taxes, pay for the fees to get license plates, and help pay for auto insurance premiums.
Holy cow.
Yeah, if you meet income guidelines. The Board of Estimate and Apportionment gave the final approval to the program on Thursday, and they are setting aside over $300,000 for a loan program. City officials say it's to get drivers legal and get rid of temp tags and reduce the number of uninsured drivers. The program is going to give interest-free loans that they say will all be paid back by the people who have not paid their tax or insurance bills in the first place.
Oh, sure. Okay.
That's how that's going to work.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll go through a little more detail on that a little bit later on today. I think this is a ridiculous program. But if somebody can talk me down and make the case that it's a good idea, I truly am all ears, or what's left of my ears after plugging in my headphones to this. All right. House Speaker Mike Johnson talks about Donald Trump's meeting with Republicans on Capitol Hill. Donald Trump was back in Washington at the Capitol for the first time since he actually left office to meet with members of Congress, and he talked about their plan for the economy.
We got to make those tax cuts permanent because they're going to expire soon, and that'll be the largest tax increase in U.S. history if we don't fix it in next year. And we've got to get to getting the regulatory state under control. Under Joe Biden, they've weaponized the agencies and smothered American business in the free market. We can reverse that. Yep. President Trump's ready to do it.
That was Speaker Johnson on Hannity on Fox last night. Of course, Donald Trump has a kind of a big job trying to unite the GOP ahead of the November election. Okay, a Franklin County gas station is going to be selling gas like it's 2020 today.
All right.
Through a partnership with Americans for Prosperity, the MotoMart on North Payne Street in Pacific is going to be selling fuel for $2.07 a gallon from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay.
Now you say, well, what's the big deal about $2.07? Well, the first 200 cars in that time get the discounted price, which is what the typical gas price was before Bidenomics took effect.
Aha.
That's the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, that gas station's right off 44, so it's easy to get to.
Yeah, and I suspect, if it's going to be for 200 vehicles, I understand it's more of a rural area. It's probably going to go quicker than people realize.
It may.
Yeah, so if you want to fuel up, That's how you do it. You're going to be handed probably a flyer to learn more about Americans for Prosperity as well, which is cool. All right, let's see here. What else is going on today? Oh, a Supreme Court ruling yesterday. We're going to start getting those. White House speaking out about the unanimous Supreme Court ruling that allows the continued use of the chemical abortion drug mifepristone. Vice President Kamala Harris says the ruling is not going to do anything to reverse the fallout of the overturning of Roe versus Wade a couple years ago, because they really want to make sure that that is a big issue in this upcoming election.
We are looking at the fact that 2/3 of women of reproductive age in America live in a state with a Trump abortion ban.
Okay, well, that's an odd thing to say, but nearly 2/3 of America's abortions every year are conducted using that chemical abortion drug. And so it's interesting because Donald Trump's actually spoken out against a couple of state pro-life laws, but you give credit where credit's due. Roe versus Wade was overturned with the Dobbs decision because of Donald Trump's appointments to the U.S. Supreme Court. So, all right, Cardinals win the series over the Pirates, move back into second place in the division, at least for the time being. Paul Goldschmidt, Brendan Donovan both had home runs in the 4-3 win. Cardinals are back on the road, start a series with the Cubs this afternoon. It's an early game, actually. First pitch is at 1:20 at Wrigley Field.
When it's important to you,
I have it on all day at work.
it's on News Talk STL.
Hunter Biden sat at the defense table.
He was found guilty.
This case was about the illegal choices defendant made while in the throes of addiction.
News, analysis, opinion.
The people we should be afraid of are Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We need a change this November.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end.
101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Seavers JCB has amazing deals on JCB mini excavators ranging from 2 tons to 10 tons. The choice is yours to take 5 on one of these great offers. Take 0% financing for 5 years or take up to a $5,500 cash rebate and 5-year warranty. See terms and conditions for details. These offers are for a limited time, so head to your nearest Seavers JCB and check out their full line of JCB construction equipment or visit seaversjcb.com. News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour at townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. China takes center stage today at day 2 of the G7 summit in Italy.
They've begun their first session this morning, and the first session is about migration, which of course is a key challenge for many of the countries, not least Italy actually, which receives the highest number of migrant arrivals in the European Union. And then the leaders will begin to talk about China, which is a major challenge, of course, to this club of Western democracies. On China specifically, they will be talking partly about the problem of overproduction of Chinese goods.
That's BBC's Mark Lowen reporting. Former U.S. Senator Jim Talent says the best way to deter China from seeking to invade Taiwan is to be prepared with superior military might, but also get cooperation from regional allies.
If we could get a joint statement from all the allies that we would together defend Taiwan, I think that would have an impact.
Senator Talent was interviewed on the Salem Radio Network. Initial reports say an unsecured tanker had spilled gas in the crash that destroyed the I-95 bridge in Philadelphia last June.
The
Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives Agency believes that is likely what happened in the cause of the enormous fire that destroyed a bridge and shut down the main north-south artery for a couple of weeks before a temporary patch could be installed.
That's correspondent Mark Schoeller. Call it the liquid sunshine state. Another round of thunderstorms swept across a waterlogged South Florida on Thursday. Hollandale Beach resident Charlene Johnson says she didn't panic when some 5 feet of water filled the parking lot.
Flew in through both entrances, just came in from both sides, and I was not overwhelmed. However, I've been through this. I'm from the Keys. I've been through it a lot.
Thursday was the third consecutive day of tropical downpours. More from townhall.com.
You just grin and bear it or bite the bullet when it comes to everyday pain? Don't. Try Relief Factor, a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free. It's developed by doctors. In 3 weeks or less, you'll know whether it works for you like it works for me. Try Relief Factor for yourself. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
It's easy for me to recommend Balance of Nature to any friend because it's so simple. It's amazing getting the fruits and vegetables ingredients that I feel like I need in 3 red and 3 green capsules. It's great.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Start to your Friday, but that humidity gradually eases this afternoon and this evening. Still hot, although not as hot as yesterday. Up to 91 this afternoon as the morning clouds move out. Plan on low to mid 80s for your evening plans. Humidity continues to slip a bit. 68 for the overnight low. Saturday, noticeable humidity, but not excessive. Up to 92 in the afternoon tomorrow. But Sunday, Father's Day, it is hot. I'm forecasting a high of 99 with a heat index up to 104. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Missouri Wild Alchemy is a local and family-owned business dedicated to providing consumers with high-quality cannabis and education. They strive to make customers feel comfortable and to help curtail the stigma of cannabis use by having a professional and well-educated staff. They're proud to carry products from several Missouri cultivators and manufacturers. Missouri Wild Alchemy, now serving recreational customers 21 and above, as well as patients. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram, or visit MissouriWild.com. That's MissouriWild.com.
Hit the links in style this season with News Talk STL's brand new golf polo and hat collection. Available exclusively at Sugar Creek Golf Course, located off Highway 30 in High Ridge. Our lightweight, moisture-wicking polos feature the News Talk STL logo, keeping you looking sharp and feeling comfortable all 18 holes. And don't forget the matching News Talk STL hats to keep the sun out of your eyes while you line up that winning putt. Get your News Talk STL gear today at Sugar Creek Golf Course off Highway 30 in High Ridge.
I think you're a little confused.
News, analysis, opinion.
I've got something to say and I can't hold it any longer.
101.9 and 94.1.
You won't hear the truth anywhere but here. News Talk STL.
News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
I'm the world's heavyweight wrestling champion.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I'm Batman.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, get up.
I want to be clear, I'm not going nuts.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, kind of a crazy week in news. I mean, it's been a wild one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to make some sense of the nonsensical, shall we?
Yes, please.
All right, and still ahead here. Let's see here, right around 6:20. Is it the government's job to pay your bills so you can not have temp tags?
We're still on the friggin' temp tags, aren't we?
They done it.
Oh,
they done it,
man.
They're going to pay your insurance premium. They're going to pay your property tax. All for, oh, geez. Okay, so 6:20. I'll tell you I will tell you the details of that, and we'll get your thoughts on that here as
Hold on.
well.
Let's make this official.
It's
Yes.
Friday.
Woo! Not only is it Friday, it's Flashback Friday, people.
Absolutely.
I'm now looking forward to see what the bump music's going to be. Hey, don't forget, real quick, we're going to talk to our friend Paul Curtman here in just a second. Coming up on June 25th, man, we're getting there. News Talk STL and the Heritage Foundation. We are partnering up for Saving America 2024, the economy and the courts, featuring Heritage Foundation subject matter experts Joel Griffith and Zach Smith. This is going to be at the St. Charles Funny Bone, and it is a free event, but you do have to get your tickets. So please get those. We do have some left. Go to newstalkstl.com. That is going to happen, like I said, on June 25th, which is a Tuesday. So great discussion. You're going to be mentally armed for all the conversations that you're going to have with your friends and family and colleagues as we head into this election season. All right, it is 6:07. I started to say season and cycle.
Yeah, at the same time. I heard it. Yeah.
And it's Friday, and I'm tired.
You know, sequel maybe should be a word. I'm thinking I'm going to have to come up with a proper definition for sequel.
Yes, please write one. All right, we've got Paul Curtman, former Missouri State Representative, former News Talk STL host extraordinaire, and joining us right now, Paul. This has been a weird week, starting with Hunter Biden getting convicted. Now, here's what was interesting about this, Paul. First of all, I want to get your thoughts on the convictions of Hunter Biden as well. We had Tony Lavasco on the show yesterday, and I referenced a couple things I've seen in like Red State and a few other conservative publications saying, okay, yeah, they got Hunter, but wait a minute, that was a gun charge. And we would not be happy if, a gun rights activist had something like this happen. So how should we view that conviction? I mean, Hunter Biden's obviously a scoundrel, but is there something about the actual charges, not the defendant, that we need to keep in mind when we're talking about that and assessing it?
Yeah. Good morning, guys. I think you're getting to something that a lot of Americans have been feeling. There's kind of an undercurrent here when we see that we have this conviction, but it's for a gun charge. And of all things, right, when he's filling out the form to buy a gun, he just checks a box where he says he's not an unlawful gun user and he's not addicted to drugs, and bam, we got him. Meanwhile, you have all this Burisma stuff. You have all this corruption with Ukraine, millions and tens of millions of dollars in his dealings with China and the Ukraine, and where Joe Biden's involved. And I really think that most Americans probably are under the impression that there's more involved in this conviction than just how he checked a box on a gun form. But while I was looking at some of the comments from the senior vice president of Gun Owners of America, and he said, we're not happy with this. We think it's an unconstitutional. But hey, as long as this law is on the books, then we're good with it, and we're glad for the conviction. And I'm going to disagree with Gun Owners of America, who I love, by the way. But I think that if you believe that a law is unconstitutional, then you have to see that. I don't see how you see this as anything but an injustice of our Constitution, even if the person is Hunter Biden. Because if it's Hunter Biden today, if we're talking about a gun charge, then it could be any one of us who checks the box the wrong way or accidentally fills out a form the wrong way in the future when we go to purchase a firearm. So I like the fact that there was some drive to go after Hunter Biden, but for this particular gun charge and for the conviction to come down on this, I feel like we totally missed the mark. I feel like this puts conservatives in an awkward situation where we would like to see Hunter Biden be sent off to prison. We'd like to see Joe Biden be sent off to prison, but not for something that we would believe and agree with is probably unconstitutional to begin with. Why don't they take the same energy and enthusiasm on the real issues, which have to do with corruption and all these international affairs and money going back and forth? Because we know that that's there. Trump's been talking about that. Other people in the mainstream media, not the mainstream media, but the alternative media have been talking about that for years. And then when finally anything happens, it's something that we would rather it not happen that way.
let me follow up to what you just said. And I love that answer you just gave regarding the Hunter Biden conviction and the laws involved. And yeah, Gun Owners of America is a solid Second Amendment group, and I really like them. But yeah, I'm with you on this. I think they're more dedicated even than the NRA is, but I look at the value of the NRA. But what happens if we put tribalism over principles, if we put tribalism over a fealty to the Constitution itself? Because that's what I'm seeing some people on our side do. And I'm hoping this can be a reminder that, hey, there's a bigger picture than just the dumb butt of Hunter Biden.
Yeah, and exactly what you got, G. When you side with tribalism over truth, you're going to put yourself in a pretty sticky situation, because eventually that pendulum begins to swing the other way. Because if you're putting tribalism over truth, then you're putting yourself in a situation where you are at the mercy of might makes right. And right now, the might on our side is sending Hunter Biden to jail, maybe, but it's over something that most conservatives would agree with we wish wasn't a law to begin with. And so the Democrats have been doing this for years and years and years. I mean, we saw it all throughout the Trump administration. They were coming up with one false charge, one fake accusation after another, and the whole tribe was rallying around whatever narrative they thought would stick with the American people, because they cared more about the narrative than they cared about the truth, because they were trying to support and lift up their tribe, the Democrat Party. And that's kind of politics, right? But the thing is, if you understand how this works, you also have to understand and just accept the fact that it's the harder row to hoe is with truth. It is harder to always take the stand on the side of truth. It just is. Tribalism is an easier way. It really is. But the problem is, as you are setting yourself up, you're setting your children up, you're setting future generations up to be the brunt of the next battering ram of whoever just happens to be in power. So I would always encourage people just to go on the side of truth. And if we were to go on the side of truth, I think we'd have people, if they were committed to the truth, then we would also be going after Hunter Biden on a lot of these more serious accusations that has to do with all the corruption at the federal level that has ties right into the Oval Office.
Morning, Paul. Gabe here. So we've got Joe Biden trying to do everything he can to abandon Israel. We have him showing tremendous weakness versus Russia as their warships are off both of our coasts. And we've got tensions rising in China, with China, especially as it pertains to Taiwan. What's going on with this White House in terms of the international profile of America?
In terms of the international profile, America is continually being knocked down one peg after another under this president. So what's happening right now with Gaza and Israel, there's this ceasefire agreement. Israel's not really keen to it. And you know what? Gaza's not really keen to it unless they get everything they want. So this is just what bullies do, right? In the case of Gaza, they go in on October 7th. They kill about 1,500 people or however many it was, take another several hundred people hostage. And now when there's a ceasefire opportunity, they say, okay, we're all for the ceasefire. We just want things to go back to the way that they were. We want the troops to be pulled out of Gaza, and we don't want war. We want the troops to be pulled out of Gaza, and we want ceasefire. We want everything. We want peace, peace, peace. Well, there was peace on October 6th, and they interrupted that. But the interesting thing is you also see the same thing happening right now with Putin. Putin is also agreeing to certain parameters of a particular ceasefire or withdrawal from certain parts of the Ukraine, as long as there's no countries joining NATO, as long as things kind of go back to the way that they were. And so all this is happening underneath the leadership of President Joe Biden. And if you're the commander in chief and the enemy or your opposition is saying, hey, let's just take things back to the way that they were before we attacked, before we invaded. And if you're saying, okay, we're fine with that, well, then you have a weak leader. These were not fights that the Ukrainian people picked. These were not fights that the Israeli people picked. But under Joe Biden, you would think that that both sides were equally guilty of all the death and the chaos and destruction that's happened since October 7th.
Good morning, Paul. Stell here. I got to ask you real quick, are those your birds in the background or are they neighborhood birds?
These are these beautiful Florida, colorful birds that are sitting in their palm trees as the sun rises over the Gulf Coast, guys.
Shut up. Stop it.
Stell, you set us up for that.
I did.
Oh, man. Dang it.
All right, so put your financial cap on to protect your head. And respond to this for me, because I'm a little bit confused here. The jobs report comes out. Supposedly, it was pretty decent, although I say most of those jobs are part-time jobs, but they say that went up. And by the way, that'll probably get revised here in a couple of weeks back down. And then unemployment went up a little. To me, that doesn't make sense. How can those, go up against each other like that with, job reports better, unemployment up a little? Can you help me with that?
Yeah, I can help you with that a little bit. You have to understand that they have different formulas that calculate unemployment and jobs numbers. So when you think of the unemployment number, what does it mean to be unemployed, and how does the Bureau of Labor Statistics actually pull somebody onto that list? Are they really unemployed? Are they underemployed? So there's a number of different things that kind of get factored into that. I'll tell you this much, though. It doesn't matter so much what the numbers are saying when you are looking at the markets. There's a lot of people that look at the markets right now. The S&P 500 just hit an all-time high again 2 days ago, and then again the day after that. And so the market seems to be really doing well, but it's not because of the jobs numbers. People are looking at the jobs numbers, and they don't really make sense to them either. They're looking at some of this other economic data. It doesn't really seem to be making sense to them. But people have this false sense that the economy is really doing well right now because of what the stock market is doing. But you got to kind of take a step back from the stock market and actually understand things like gross domestic product. What are we actually producing as a nation? Well, those numbers were down the last quarter. They were not what we expected them to be. We expected them to be higher. Inflation is still well over 40% higher than the Federal Reserve's target rate of inflation. And so there's a lot of other numbers that don't seem to be making sense. They're still not sure if we're going to get that soft landing that they wanted us to have. But the reason the market's going up is because there's a lot of emotion involved. We came off of 2 years of volatility. And if the Federal Reserve is talking about cutting interest rates, that's making a lot of people think, okay, it's going to be cheaper to borrow money to actually invest back in the economy. But on the flip side of that, to your point, Stell, consumer confidence has also taken a hit. That's also lower. And also consumer spending has taken a hit recently. So people just aren't spending quite as much money, and they think that might get a little bit worse too. So what I would advise people to do is take a cautious approach to the future. Things might look nice and rosy right now, but that doesn't mean that there's an underlying foundation to support that for the long haul.
All right. And people have questions regarding economic stuff, financial stuff. Paul, I know they can get in touch with you, even all the way down in Florida, if they can hear you over the tropical birds.
They can find me at prcurtman.com.
All right. We'll talk to you again soon, Paul. Thanks so much, man.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right. Just ahead here, City Hall says we've got a problem with these temp tags. This is a problem around St. Louis. So you know what? We're just going to front you the money.
Oh, boy.
From the taxpayer largesse.
So stupid.
What could go wrong with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's talk about that right around 6:22 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Don't try to make me stop. Inspiration. You have the soul sewn up. It is no more.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com.
Making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Hey, this is a great time to get fantastic deals at Ackerman Toyota, #1 volume dealer in the area. Why? Very simple. They want to make you happy. They'll come up with a deal that puts you in the driver's seat. You'll be smiling as you drive off the lot. You got to trade in? You're going to get top dollar from Ackerman. Looking for a premium used car or truck? Ackerman is the answer. Ackerman Toyota at Hampton and 44. AckermanToyota.com. Ackerman Toyota for life.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL, Haunted Garage, and we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to Skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right. It's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. The 80s. Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young. Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where are the beat?
It's Flashback Friday.
Venus.
That was one note.
Yep.
A rare song that went to number 1 twice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Shocking Blue
Yeah.
back in the late 60s, and then this one from Bananarama.
That's right.
In the 80s.
The Shocking Blue version, the original one's really cool too.
It is a good
really
version.
Good version.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Flashback Friday there. Thank you to whoever requested that one. I wouldn't call Bananarama a one-hit wonder because they had like 3 or 4 pretty big songs.
You're right.
This one was a huge hit for them.
Gigantic.
Yeah.
Cruel Summer was another one.
That was a good song.
I think we played that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, as far as like pop music goes, that was a pretty good 80s pop song. Cruel Summer.
And they managed to turn it into a pretty good theme for a ladies' deodorant.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Venus Deodorant uses this song as their theme song for all the commercials.
Oh, okay.
Got it. Is it deodorant or I thought it was like the razors?
Oh, that's right. You know what? You're right.
You're
right. You're right.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Is it the city government's job to pay your bills when you won't pay them yourself?
No.
You see, and if you just make a blanket statement like that, there are very few people who are going to say, well, of course it is. Very few. That's why I set the conversation up like that. So if you ask a lot of people in St. Louis City Hall, though, the answer could be, well, let's get the rest of the story here. They'll say it's the right thing to do, and they're sure you're going to pay them back.
So wait a minute. Here's the thing that I don't get. You owe the government money.
Right.
And then they're going to lend you money.
Right.
So that you owe them money for the money you lent them to pay the money that you owed them in the first place.
Right.
Why are we doing this?
Oh, let me get it because we told you this was coming a few weeks ago.
Oh my gosh. I thought you were joking. I did. I was like, okay, they're floating this idea. This is one of those ideas like, hey, let's build a giant shade over the planet to help us cool from global warming. That's the kind of idea it sounded like to me.
It is a joke, but I'm not joking. Okay, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
By the way, there are several candidates for Secretary of State in Missouri this year. We're going to talk to one of them at 6:35. One of the main ones, Greene County Clerk Shane Schoeller. He's been running elections for about a decade. Now he wants the statewide job. So we'll talk to him at 6:35. Real quick, before we get to this St. Louis debacle in the making thing, the UFL is hosting a fan fest this weekend on Sunday prior to the championship game from noon to 4. This is going to happen at, let's see here, Bayer Plaza.
Right across the street from the Dome.
Yep.
All
yep.
right.
Yep. There's going to be a DJ. There's going to be a lot of interactive stuff going on. Some games happening. This is going to be 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock, which is going to be the official UFL Fan Fest a couple hours beforehand. We'll get into this a little more deeply, I think, next hour, but the UFL has been really aggressive in advertising on social media and TV, trying to get, saturating the St. Louis market. I had somebody in the league tell me yesterday that there were tickets going for as little as $4 before the fees and things.
Yeah.
They are basically looking at St. Louis to carry the league again on Sunday.
Yes.
So I want to flip that question, because there are people, like, you see the social media things, like, why aren't you showing up? You're not supporting the league. You need to get there. St. Louis isn't, St. Louis is dropping the ball. I'm like, wait a minute. San Antonio and Birmingham should be filling the dome. The reason cities want to host these things is to bring in the tourists and the visitors, and it's an opportunity.
Right.
So there are going to be St. Louis fans there, but the UFL quietly, and I had somebody in the league confirm this to me yesterday, tell me that they're concerned that there's going to be a tiny turnout for that championship game. Tiny.
I don't mean to be negative or to, throw water on the whole thing, but it's starting to feel to me like a collegiate bowl game instead of what it should be, which is a professional championship
Like
game.
Division II collegiate.
Yeah, a couple of teams trying to come from far away as though we're, the University of Buffalo and Washington State playing in Dallas.
Right.
Okay, how do those folks get to the game, and are they interested in going?
Yeah.
It kind of has that feel to it.
This is the UFL's version of the Super Bowl.
Right.
So they haven't really named it yet. It's just the championship game. And what they don't want to happen is the inaugural one becoming the Who Cares Bowl.
Right. Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. Listen, you're building a league. St. Louis has carried this league. So don't get chippy when St. Louis is like, well, my team lost. It's Father's Day.
Right.
So, the tickets are going for next to nothing right now. So if you got nothing to do on Sunday, you can go dirt cheap to that game.
Yeah, we were just talking about, before earlier how, $5 seats in the 400 level, the $5 to $10 on those. And then there were some even in the 100 level, just kind of in the corners that were like $15.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So they really need butts and seats for the TV presentation.
Yeah.
But if they're not there, there are going to be people trying to blame St. Louis. I'm saying, wait a minute, San Antonio, Birmingham, this is your job to fill there. You're supposed to support your team. It's the freaking championship. So let's talk about that in a little more depth next hour here. Okay, the St. Louis City Board of Estimate and Apportionment. That's the final step after City Hall is given the green light to this program. So on Thursday, they gave the final approval for a program to provide loans to people to help pay their personal property taxes, DMV fees for tags, and even auto insurance premiums.
No.
They have set aside $315,000 for a loan program where you can make, a family of four can make $80,000 and still qualify for this loan program.
Really?
Family of four, that the parameters.
Wow.
And so
I gotta tell some people about this.
Yeah, they're going to loan out the money, and it's going to be interest-free loans. And they say, well, it's just going to be a revolving door. People are going to take the loans, and then they're going to pay us back, and then we'll loan it out to others. You didn't bother to go buy insurance or pay your tax bill, but you think they're going to pay City Hall back? What's the logic in this? The same people who are in that situation because they don't pay their bills are going to pay this back?
Yeah, it's really weird when you mentioned the addition of the insurance in as part of this program. So the thing is, you're not paying your taxes, which is one set of bills. So we're going to loan you money again. This the convoluted thing we discussed earlier. Is I'm going to loan you money for the money that you owe me, and then you can pay me back for the money. But then they put money on top of it with the insurance. It's like, okay, and this money you don't owe me. You owe the insurance company, but we'll pay that for you. And then you can owe me the interest. What?
Whoa, I'm dizzy.
Exactly. It doesn't, it makes even less sense now than the original one I thought it was.
Because there's a lot of pressure. People are like mad about the temp tag thing.
Yeah.
I think it's funny.
Well,
but
it's going away.
I know, precisely. And the other thing is they're saying if you don't have a temp tag, you're unlikely to have insurance. That's probably true.
Probably true.
And so I get that they're saying, here we go. Let's just get everybody legal and then we'll deal with it from there. But there's no possible way this is going to be successful. This is one of the dumbest government programs I have heard of in a long time. And I've seen some dumb government programs over the years, but this one is literally, let's take taxpayer money, give it to people who are not paying taxes and the requirements to be legal in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And then those people are supposed to pay the taxpayers back when they're in the situation that they're in right now because they haven't paid the taxes in the first place. And, I mean, it just makes no sense.
I got to say that I'm stunned that Chicago didn't think of this first. Because this is typical Chicago Democratic machine kind of stuff. Okay, you move this money over here, you move this over here to take this over here, and it winds up being a convoluted scheme, kind of.
The other insult to injury here is that basically they're setting it up like a Ponzi scheme.
Yes.
That's what it feels like.
So because it's the people who are paying back the loans who are going to provide the money to pay the new people who are going to apply for the program. It's a Ponzi scheme.
Especially when your one demographic, your one target audience, the one thing everybody has in common is that they haven't paid their bills in the first place. That's the one common thing. Is like, you know what? We're going to set up a program and market a loan program to people who don't pay their bills.
Imagine a bank trying this kind of program.
Yes.
It's like, you're a bank VP someplace and you're trying to propose this to the board and say, I've got a new great program and it's going to be awesome. It's like, all the people who have defaulted on their loans and there are huge risks and everything like that. They have like 300 credit scores. Let's loan them more money so that when they pay that back, we'll have money available to loan to other people.
Man, there's a wide open here. Nobody else is in this space. You know why, Ralph?
It's a wide open market.
You know why it's wide open, Ralph? Because nobody wants to be there. And at that point, I think it's actually legal to punch that poor employee.
Yes.
As you're throwing them out and firing them.
Absolutely.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
All right.
Ralph, it was nice working with you.
All right. 314-912-1019. Let's see here on Rumble. The comment came in here. This is nothing more than a vote buying scheme.
There it is.
That wouldn't happen in St. Louis City.
Democrats would never do that.
Yeah,
Come on.
Such an accusation against Democrats.
They've got such stellar ethics in there. It is on par with those stellar ethics. All right, let's talk elections, integrity, security. Shane Schoeller wants to be your next Secretary of State. He's got some experience running elections. He's got some experience in legislature. We'll get his take on keeping your vote safe and counted right. That's just ahead here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL on this Flashback Friday.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Start to your Friday, but that humidity gradually eases this afternoon and this evening. Still hot, although not as hot as yesterday. Up to 91 this afternoon as the morning clouds move out. Plan on low to mid 80s for your evening plans. Humidity continues to slip a bit. 68 for the overnight low. Saturday, noticeable humidity, but not excessive. Up to 92 in the afternoon tomorrow. But Sunday, Father's Day, it is hot. I'm forecasting a high of 99 with a heat index up to 104. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Tony Colombo here, along with Tim Jones for Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Rodney and Jen are the #1 home selling team in the area, and I could say that from personal experience. They sold our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible, which put us in a great position as we tried to find our perfect new home. And with help from the Wallners, that's exactly what we did. Christine and I couldn't be happier with our experience working with Rodney and Jen Wallner. And Tim, the numbers speak for themselves.
That's right, Tony. Everybody knows the Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. And if you're looking to sell your home, right now they have so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. They're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the St. Louis region, you can put the Wallners experience and work ethic to work for you. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call Rodney and Jen Wallner now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Friday is Flag Day. We'll celebrate all morning long. Plus, we'll celebrate the birthday of Donald John Grover Cleveland Trump. That's Friday, all day. See you then.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere. The 80s. Excellent. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Kissing like a bandit, stealing time underneath the sycamore tree. Cupid by the all St. Valentine's to my sweet lover at me. Slowly, surely, your appetite is more than I knew. Sweet.
All right, it's an election year, and I know that pretty much everybody's thinking about the presidential election because, hey, Donald Trump trying to reclaim the White House. I get it. But here's the fact of the matter is, in Missouri, Donald Trump's going to win the state by 9, 10, 12, who knows, maybe 15 points. On the Illinois side of our listening area, Joe Biden's going to win by 5 or 6 or 7 points. That's how it works. I'm not saying don't vote. I'm not saying don't be involved. I'm just saying that some of the other races, the statewide races, the local races, are more heavily contested and they impact our lives directly. Hey, by the way, happy Friday. I'm Mike Ferguson here on News Talk STL. One of the big races you're going to be deciding, and it's probably going to be decided in the primary election. Don't discount the general election. 8 Republicans want to be your next Secretary of State. One of them is the Greene County Clerk, Shane Schoeller, who joins me right now. Shane, good to see you, my friend.
Hey, Mike, great to see you.
And, of course, Greene County Clerk now. So you're running elections right now
Yes.
and have been for years. And before that, you were in the state legislature as well. I think you may have bumped into this guy named Tim Jones. You ever meet him?
Yeah, I did know Tim Jones. Yes.
So you were there right around the time that things flipped from Democrat control to Republican control.
That's correct. I was elected in 06, started serving in 07. Of course, the Republicans took control. I believe it was in 03. So
Yeah.
just into that third term of that original group that came in and I guess was it? Yeah, it was 02. They were sworn in 03, and then
Yeah.
I came in 07.
And those majorities just grew.
Yes, they really
you know,
did.
while you were there. And you were Speaker Pro Tem.
Yes.
People of Greene County have been trusting you with their elections and a lot of other business stuff.
In 2014, I ran for county clerk. My predecessor decided not to run again. And so now I'm actually in my 10th year of being the county clerk in Greene County.
Yeah. And that's important. I'm asking about that for a reason, because the way that we do elections has really changed over the past several years when all the COVID restrictions and shutdowns, and then obviously all the, political activism, and a lot of people, especially, particularly basically only on the left, trying to play games, and election integrity and election security are just crucial right now. And whoever's elected Secretary of State, that's going to be priority number one for so many people. And I think that's a fair thing to say. We've passed a number of laws over the last 2 or 3 sessions to really amp up the security of our state. How would you assess the security and integrity of our elections in the state of Missouri right now?
Well, we did a great job before the election integrity bill was passed in 2022. I was actually president of our county clerk election authority organization at the time. And of course, one of the best things we did is we got rid of those paper forms of documentation you could check in to vote with, like your utility statement or your bank statement. Those are gone. Now you have to use that real photo ID. We made sure that drop boxes were not coming to our state. We are proactive on that. We saw what happened in other states where they had the drop boxes, and so we made sure that those are banned in the state of Missouri, made that crystal clear. And then we also made sure that the paper ballot is the actual ballot, which I always supported when I was in the Missouri legislature. That was critical. And we made sure that there's no ballot curing in our state, making sure when the ballot's received, that is what is going to be opened up, and that's what's going to be tallied once the bipartisan team opens up that envelope and inserts that into the ballot tabulation equipment.
Now, some things are just here to stay, when you talk about, absentee or early voting and all of that sort of thing. So how do we make sure that somebody who votes absentee, somebody who, we don't really do mail-in voting unless you're out of state or military. Or
absentee voting, currently you have to give a reason up until that final 2 weeks before the day of the election. Then you don't have to give a reason. And so normally it's going to be because you are out of town. Military and overseas, for example, is a good example of that. And then, of course, if you're sick and can't get to the polling location or you have a disability, you're not able to physically get there, you can give that reason as well. And so, yes, you can request that absentee ballot. It can be sent to you. And one of the things I'm actually working on in that regard is that when we receive that absentee ballot back by mail, there's a signature that we have to verify that is a best practice, but it's not in the state statute. One of the things I want to make sure we get done is that we codify that in state statute. It's not even in the Code of State Regulations, to my knowledge, that we check the signature. And the reason I say that is that if for some reason someone was purposely not checking signatures because they were trying to throw the outcome of an election, we have no tool in the toolbox to be able to hold them accountable. Let's get that in the statute. And that's just one more thing that we can do to make sure we have secure, accurate, fair elections.
Yeah, see, a lot of people don't realize that until you just said that.
Yeah.
So, very limited the number of people who can mail something in. And I don't think anybody's going to complain about military personnel stationed somewhere else mailing something in an election, but all those other reasons. I tend to go in and vote early, but I've got to do that in person. I've got to show the ID. I'm happy to do it. So in that case right there, that's a hole in our integrity that we need filled.
It's not in the Code of State Regulations. It's not in the statute. That's something that we can do. It's very easy to do. Like I said, it's the best practice.
Yeah. So you're doing it right now.
We do it in Greene County. I know they do it here in St. Louis County and St. Louis City. It is a best practice. But the challenge is when it's ignored for a reason, then you have nothing you can do to hold those individuals accountable. Let's get that in the law so that we can make sure that that's part of protecting our elections every time people cast their ballot.
Yeah, because that's not just about the election this year. That's about the future elections after we all retire and we're all gone, to making sure that we still have that so that people can, fight out the issues at the ballot booth and knowing that whatever the decisions are. And that's one of the dangerous things about when you don't have confidence in your elections, it undermines so much else out there.
It really does, because I think about, the men and women who have fought for this freedom we have to be able to cast our ballot, those who gave their life for it. And the very bare minimum we need to have is make sure people have confidence, because once they lose confidence that the election results that are certified are not the actual results of how the people voted, people begin to lose faith in their government in terms of who's in that quote elected leadership. And we've got to make sure that we protect that. And that's part of all of us coming together. That's why, as an election authority, we work to make sure that the Republicans and Democrats working together at each polling location, doing the same thing when we're doing the absentee ballot opening process, separating the ballot from that envelope. We need to have transparency. We need to make sure that we have bipartisanship in that process. And that's how you bring back confidence. And that way, if there's any questions, they can be asked during that period of time, not after the fact. After the fact is when almost always it's too late. And that's when that cloud of uncertainty, doubt begins to hang around elections. And we don't want that. In Missouri, we're doing well, but as I always say, we can always do better. And there's ways to do that, like the signature verification being put in state statute.
Yeah. And other than that, technologically or where we want to be, there's a lot of people that don't like voting, touching a screen. I always put a paper ballot in, but that's what we do now. I'm not talking about, like, for instance, those with disabilities. Those are special situations. But once the ballot goes into those boxes and they scan them, we still have a record. And I know there are some people who are just going to be skeptical of absolutely anything that involves technology. But once those are put into those boxes, those are still, by law and practice, kept. And are those counted as well from that original tabulation?
So what happens after each election is no less than 5% of the polling locations that we have in terms of people voting that day. No less than 5% of those are going to be randomly drawn. And then we're actually going to take, for example, in this August and November election, we're going to then randomly draw a statewide contest, whether it's for president, governor, or on down the ticket. We'll also do one for the legislative seat, whether it's for congressional or the Missouri General Assembly. We'll do one for the court, so anything from the circuit appellate to the Supreme Court. And then we'll also end up doing one for the county itself and an issue that's on the ballot. All of those are randomly drawn, and then they are hand counted and compared with the electronic tabulator to make sure that indeed was tabulating correctly the day of the election. I'm in my 10th years being the county clerk of Greene County. We've done that every election, and I can tell you that we've had ties, one vote outcomes, and we've yet to have the hand count overturn the machine count. Now, can it happen? Sure. And when that's going to happen most of the time is going to be when a voter, for example, circled the name, didn't fill in the oval. Machine's not programmed to recognize a circled name. It is programmed to recognize the oval being filled in. When you get a close election, normally it's that type of thing that's going to change the outcome. But we also test the equipment before and after the election and do the hand count, because if there is a programming error or potentially it was compromised, we want to make sure we certify that we're certifying the correct outcome.
Okay, so if you have to, then you go back and every single one, if that's what has to happen.
You
So,
have that.
All right,
Yeah,
got
that's
it.
why you always want the paper ballot, and I've always been a supporter of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so you're really deep in the weeds on this, obviously. So you've been working on these elections for a while.
Yeah, just a few years.
We just got a few minutes here left. We're visiting with Shane Schoeller, the Greene County clerk, and he's running for Secretary of State, Republican. I've known Shane for a long time, and we go back a long time. I as conservative as you get. There's a lot of people who are conservative in the race.
Yes.
Some maybe not so much, but it's a lot of people. And I know you. I know your conservatism. I know, but this is one of those races. It's interesting where we want good conservatives in there, but we want people who are going to still be the official.
Yes.
Be the referee and call it fairly, because as much as I think a lot of people want to, hate to admit it, liberals win sometimes.
Sure, absolutely.
That's the way that it goes.
You bet.
And we don't want to have somebody in there who's going to skew it towards us or against us.
That's right.
But in that case, when you talk about the conservative, why is it important to have conservatives even in offices that are supposed to be objective and calling things down the middle?
Well, I think it's things like, for example, a lot of my friends that are liberals, they have supported voting online. I do not support that. I always want the paper ballot. They support mail-in voting. Again, I definitely want to make sure the person who can't get the polling location because of a physical issue or something, some type of sickness, that they still get a chance to vote military and overseas. But I always tell people I believe in the VIP model. Vote in person. That's what we need to be behind. A lot of our friends that are liberals don't believe in that. They want every ballot mailed to the home. And frankly, I tell folks, not only does that concern me, I get concerned about when every ballot's mailed to home, coercion taking place. And you're not going to be able to protect the voter from being coerced in how they vote when every ballot is mailed to a home. And that's another reason we need to be very thoughtful in terms of why we would not want to do that, is because not only can the ballot get to the wrong voter, even the ballot gets the right voter, you don't know that they're able to vote that ballot independently. You have a lot more confidence at a polling location.
So the fewer mail-in ballots, the better.
I agree, 100%. 100%.
When you're traveling around the state, what's the most common question or concern or worry or challenge that you're getting from people when it comes to elections or something else the Secretary of State's office does? Because you're running for a big job, right? It's just over a lot.
And frankly, it's going to oftentimes be the machines. People are concerned about that. And one of the things I always like to mention to them when we have that conversation is that we need to remember our history when we think about those conversations. And that's when I like to mention to them, there's an article from the St. Louis Globe-Democrat in 1955, and I'm going to read this. In a special report on voting machines, the Board of Election Commissioners said flagrant frauds such as stuffing ballot boxes, changing voted ballots as they are tabulated, marking tally sheets for the wrong candidate, and deliberately calling voted ballots incorrectly are stopped by the use of voting machines. Chances of fraud are far less with voting machines because the machines perform mechanically and automatically many of the functions. And so you got to get the gist of it in terms of, and I say that because I always want to have a hand count every election, but I also know we had a history of fraudulent hand counting in our state, and we don't want to go back and repeat the history. So I think you need to have the hand count always to verify what's happening in the machine, but you also want to have the machine because when they are performing correctly, they're far more accurate. Frankly, as humans, we do make errors. It's very common, especially when you're doing a hand count. And so we need to have the best of both worlds. And so that's why I never trust the machines, but I never solely trust a hand count independent of and by itself.
All right. People learn more about your campaign where?
You can go to Shane for SOS. That's our website. You can also go to @Shane on Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Shane Schoeller running for Secretary of State. Good to see you again, my friend.
Absolutely. Great to see you, Mike.
All right. Got some thoughts on that? Let's know. Let's hear them. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 94.1 News Talk STL on this Flashback Friday, people.
Kissing like a bandit, stealing time underneath the sycamore tree.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Valentine's to my sweet lover at me.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the News Talk STL app.
Just a convenience on the phone.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Looking for the ultimate golfing experience in St. Louis? Look no further than Sugar Creek Golf Course. As the most popular golf course in the region, Sugar Creek offers 18 holes of challenging play, designed for all skill levels on rolling country hills with stunning views. But it's not just about the game, it's about the experience. Friendly staff, new Yamaha golf carts, freshly paved cart paths, and renovated clubhouse will make your day on the course a pleasure. Sugar Creek Golf Course, the perfect place to bring your team or friends together. Book your tee time today at sugarcreekgolfcourse.com. That's sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new MO Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Mayella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmoscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmoscholars.org. That's herzogmoscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic. And I love the kitchen you found with all these great crumbs.
Yeah, baby. Only the finest crumbs in the kitchen for my favorite aunt. Oh, no. It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. The 80s. Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young.
Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where are the beats?
It's Flashback Friday.
Tell me your friends are distant. Tell me your man's untrue.
The morning news dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
That might be the first time I was stumped.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Amy Grant, Find a Way.
Oh,
From the mid-'80s, from her Unguarded album.
Okay, got it. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was a deep cut.
It was.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Requested about a week or so ago.
Okay.
Couldn't get it in last Friday.
Okay,
But
great.
that was her first mainstream hit.
Thank you for the request there.
Still showing that no matter when you put your request in, he will eventually get it.
That's right.
We'll try to at least.
We'll put you in the bullpen.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, it is 6:55. Let's go through a few pieces of the news here. House Speaker Mike Johnson was commenting about Donald Trump's meeting with Republicans on Capitol Hill. Donald Trump meeting with the congressional delegation, the GOP delegation yesterday. And that's actually the first time he'd been back to the Capitol since he left office.
We got to make those tax cuts permanent because they're going to expire soon. And that'll be the largest tax increase in U.S. history if we don't fix it in next year. And we've got to get to getting the regulatory state under control. Under Joe Biden, they've weaponized the agencies and smothered American business in the free market. We can reverse that. Yeah. President Trump's ready to do it.
And that was on Fox News' Hannity last night. At Franklin County gas stations, going to be selling gas like it's 2020, baby.
Nice.
That's right. Through a partnership with Americans for Prosperity, the MotoMart on North Payne Street in Pacific is going to be selling fuel for $2.07 a gallon from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock this afternoon.
$2.07.
Yeah. Remember when it was that? Because that was the price before Bidenomics. That was the average price right before Bidenomics.
You know, I got the Costco discount, right?
Yep.
It's like 30 cents a gallon, right? Yep. Off of the normal standard here. And it's still like $3.30, right?
Well, I filled up last Sunday at Costco, and I think it was like $2.90 something.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, but depending on the week,
mm-hmm.
The first 200 cars between 2 and 4 o'clock are going to get that discounted price today. So we're actually going to talk to our friends at Americans for Prosperity a little bit later on this morning about that.
And that's right off 44 in Pacific, just so folks know kind of where it is.
Right. And
that's farty far for the rest of you guys.
I'm sorry.
For the rest of you guys.
Right. Yeah. Still, of course, you're like, all right, how quick can I get there? I don't want to tell everybody about it. I want to get there first.
Because it's on my way home.
All right, President Biden and Ukrainian President Zelensky have a joint press conference in Italy during the G7 summit. U.S. officials are still looking at the Caribbean as Russian ships perform military drills in addition to what's happening with Ukraine. Senator Tommy Tuberville, Republican out of Louisiana, was on Fox Business last night. He was on the evening edit with Elizabeth McDonald. And he is saying, you know what we have a lack of diplomacy and a lack of leadership when it comes to the U.S. handling Russia's war against Ukraine.
It worries me coming up to election that Joe Biden, along with Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Blinken and Sullivan, might make some stupid decision and get us in something that we would all regret here in the next 6-7 months.
And when it comes to the diplomacy, we shouldn't be running their war anymore. We should be running the war Israel's fighting for self-defense. But we've got to be very careful not to increase NATO at this point.
Oh,
That's
gosh.
my opinion.
Yeah.
As well. All right. The UFL, not saying it out loud, but a source in the league confirms to me they are concerned about attendance at this weekend's championship game at the Dome in St. Louis. While the Battlehawks averaged over 30,000 fans per game, reaching over 40,000 early in the season, neither of the teams in the championship drew anywhere near that for their home games. San Antonio Brahmas played the Birmingham Stallions Sunday at 4. Many tickets still available, and as of last night, a lot of them were under $10. So there's cheap entertainment downtown on Sunday if you want it.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour at townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Responding to a G7 agreement to use frozen Russian assets to raise $50 billion for Ukraine has Russian President Vladimir Putin vowing revenge.
Mr. Putin's speech at the foreign ministry in Moscow was a familiar list of grudges against the West. He said the way it had treated Russia showed that any country could fall victim to a similar Western asset freeze. Despite all the chicanery, theft will remain theft, he said. He also announced conditions for peace talks with Ukraine, which look like a non-starter. He said Ukrainian troops must leave the territories of the self-declared republics, while Kiev must pledge not to join NATO.
As BBC's Sasha Schlichter reporting, the U.S. Supreme Court has made it harder for the federal government to win court orders when it suspects a company of interfering in unionization efforts.
The High Court was acting on a case that stemmed from a labor dispute with Starbucks. The justices tightened the standards for when a federal court should issue an order to protect the jobs of workers during a union organizing campaign. The court rejected a rule that some courts had applied to orders sought by the National Labor Relations Board in favor of a higher threshold sought by Starbucks that must be met in most other fights over court orders or injunctions.
As correspondent Jeremy House reporting, another round of thunderstorms swept across waterlogged South Florida on Thursday.
It was scary. A lot of flashes, rainings. I see a lot of broken cars, a lot of left cars without drivers, and there was a lot of water on the streets.
Thursday was the third consecutive day of tropical downpours across the Florida Panhandle. Global shares were mixed today after Wall Street touched on some fresh records on Thursday. The benchmarks pushed higher by the frenzy over artificial intelligence technology. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The tech big government and the progressives have done everything they can to silence truth and sanity, but there is a secret weapon out there that they cannot touch. 1 year ago, a new digital streaming platform, the Real Life Network, was launched to provide a desperate world with much needed programming free from the overreach and interference of government and media. The explosive growth they have seen speaks for itself. In one short year, more than 100 programmers have jumped on board to provide all kinds of content. I'm proud to be among them, as you can find the Dennis Prager Show and several of my interviews on Real Life Network. And get this, over 30 million minutes of programs that are free from the influence of secular agendas have been viewed. Real Life Network can change your life, and it's free. Sign up now at reallifenetwork.com and receive a free digital download of Countdown, a book from Real Life Network founder, Pastor Jack Hibbs.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Boy, a swampy start to your Friday, but that humidity gradually eases this afternoon and this evening. Still hot, although not as hot as yesterday. Up to 91 this afternoon as the morning clouds move out. Plan on low to mid 80s for your evening plans. Humidity continues to slip a bit. 68 for the overnight low. Saturday, noticeable humidity, but not excessive. Up to 92 in the afternoon tomorrow. But Sunday, Father's Day, it is hot. I'm forecasting a high of 99 with a heat index up to 104. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Hey, it's Columbo for Capriotti's Sandwich Shop. Capriotti's is famous for setting themselves apart due to their dedication to superior quality and ingredients like slow-roasted, hand-pulled whole turkey and American Wagyu straight from Snake River Farms. That dedication to superior quality is evident from the very first bite into a Capriotti sandwich. Visit Capriotti's Sandwich Shop 7 days a week at the corner of Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill, and get more info, including how to impress at your next event with their great catering at capriottis.com.
What's the key to maximizing the value of your outdoor space? Satisfaction. And getting a fence or deck that exceeds expectations with the highest quality American-made material. And working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. And adding safety and security for your family and pets to play, relax, and entertain. At STL Fenceworks, satisfaction is our core value. Doing it right the first time, standing above the competition. At STLFenceworks.com, your satisfaction is our passion.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple saw Darius!
Get up! Get up! Get
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
This is your cousin.
It's Friday.
There may be somebody who can make an argument for City Hall paying your tax bills for you. Maybe.
No.
And paying for your insurance premium.
No.
And paying for your DMV fees.
Definitely no.
Okay.
Tony Messenger, maybe.
If you're that person, Tony, call me.
Case.
Seriously, 314-912-1019. We mentioned this kind of not quite in passing, but we kind of touched on a little bit ago. Man, a lot of people had some thoughts on this. I want to bring it back here. The city of St. Louis now gives final approval to a program literally to pay people's delinquent taxes and pay their fees and pay their auto insurance in order to get temp tags and uninsured drivers off the street. So I'll give you the details of that here in just a second. I cannot find any redeeming value in this program. I understand what they're trying to do, but I think this just shows you the incompetence of the government of the city of St. Louis. This is what you're voting for, people.
Yeah. You ask for these people.
Yeah. Jeez. All right. It is 7:06 right now. Don't forget, we are number one for local conservative, live and local conservative talk 7 days a week. Randy Tobler Show, Saturday morning from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. He takes your calls. He takes your comments on social media. Just a great time, great program here. Okay. So city of St. Louis, the final step was the Board of Estimate and Apportionment. They gave final approval on Thursday, and this is a program that's been, already, given the okay by City Hall, for an initiative to give loans to people who have not paid their personal property taxes, who have temp tags. So you can go to City Hall and borrow money and then turn around and pay your property taxes with that. So borrow from the taxpayers in order to pay a tax bill, and then use the money also to go pay the DMV fees, and then also use the money to get auto insurance. So taxpayers are paying for all of this with people who are driving around with the temp tags. And this is now, to some degree, I get that there's pressure. Like, people are like, do something about the temp tags, and I think it's funny, but I do understand there's a correlation between that and uninsured drivers.
Yeah.
But the city is setting aside $315,479 of taxpayer money on this revolving door loan program, because they believe that if you loan somebody the money to go get their tags right and get their insurance in place, that they're actually going to make it a priority to pay you back. And they think that people are going to pay back all this money that City Hall is giving them to go. I mean, this is literally what happens when you are in college and you're like, oh my gosh, Dad, my tags are about to expire. What do I do? Okay, I'll front it. Pay me back later. You're
never getting that money back.
No, you're not getting that money back. Trust me. I've got 2 kids who are now like adults, and
every parent knows you're not getting that money back.
That back. Guess what, City Hall? You're not getting this back. Interest-free loans are like, well, there's going to be penalties if they don't pay back. So you're not getting it back.
Did they really say they're going to be penalties?
They actually said there's going to be penalties if you're not paying it back.
Gosh.
So hey, let's break this down into 2 parts. And 314-912-1019 is the number to get to be. Is there a problem?
Yes.
As much as I laugh about the temp tag things, I saw one the other day from, I think it was 2021, still driving around. So is it a problem? I get it. Yes. Is it more likely that somebody in that temp tag car is uninsured? Probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure it probably is. So I get that there's a problem to be addressed. And so the reaction from those on the hard left, and yes, I'm making this a left and right thing.
Because it is.
Because it shows your worldview. It shows the differences, how we see the role of government. Their role, they look at it as saying, well, we've got money here, set it in a fund, and we'll just pay for it.
We'll solve the problem, as they say. We'll solve the problem.
And then they're going to create the other problem when somebody who didn't think that they needed to pay the property tax, which, listen, I'm with you. I can't stand property taxes. I think they're immoral, but my tags are paid up to 2025. Okay. It's just the reality that we have to deal with until we can get people elected who are going to get rid of property taxes.
Right.
So the people who didn't do that basic life thing, who didn't pay the fees at the DMV, who didn't bother to go get auto insurance, which, by the way, the fact that we have to require auto insurance shows there's a lot of irresponsible people, because a lot of people are like, I don't want to pay $100 a month for that. Okay, well, your responsible person would say, ooh, it's only $100 a month to take away all the risk of this financial thing.
Right.
But anyway, so people who have chosen not to do all these things, City Hall says, well, with this program, they're going to just pay us back.
We'll just make it right.
Yeah, we'll pay for it up front. We'll take care of it. Then you're going to pay us back. Interest free, just pay us. Really? And the thing is that when you look at, a family of four with the economic parameters they've set into this, income parameters, a family of four can bring in $80,000 a year and qualify for this loan program.
Right.
And they think people are going to pay them back. They're literally marketing to the people
who don't pay their bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, the Venn diagram of people who qualify this program and the people who will not pay it back are two circles with a gap between them. Like they will never intersect.
Yeah.
It's like there is no way that the people who qualify for this program will ever give any money back into this program.
Kamala says, thanks for describing it.
I love Venn diagrams too. Like that's the one area of agreement between me and Kamala Harris is that Venn diagrams are awesome.
You do like them.
Yes.
I've noticed that.
And space is big and wide. She has actually space is big is actually a quote from Kamala Harris, by the way.
Technically speaking, is she wrong?
She is not wrong.
See?
The areas of agreement. See,
that's right.
Calling balls and strikes here on the Mike
right.
Ferguson in the morning show. But seriously, this program is nothing more than, I think one of our listeners said it. It's a vote buying scheme.
Right. And that came on the Rumble chat box, which, by the way, you're watching us on social media, and I got to do this right now. Hit the like thing, thumbs up thing, please, on Facebook or Twitter or Rumble. But back to this, I mean, the thing is, this is how people in government work, though.
Yeah, they think this is a solution.
They think it's a solution because they think their job there is to solve everybody's individual problems if you're on the left.
Right.
Well, it's government here. We need a new program. This will solve the problem. Enforcement isn't working. That's true.
Apparently.
In a lot of different areas. But as we pointed out, new state laws are eventually going to weed out these temp tags. I would argue it's been more effective in North County and in St. Charles County, particularly St. Charles City, when they have simply said, we're going to do saturation patrols. And what was it? North County was doing temp tag
Tuesdays. Yep.
And they just said, we see you with a temp tag that's expired. We're going to pull you over.
Right.
One of my buddies who's a cop in Richmond Heights, I was asking him about this, and it's probably been a year or so since he and I talked about it. And he said, if it's a temp tag that's less than 30 days, he goes, I don't really bother with it.
Right.
He's like, stuff happens. He goes, after 30 days, he goes, and then I'm probably going to pull you over. He goes, I may start with a warning. He said, but if it's outrageous, he goes, we've been given the green light to pull people over.
Right.
For a temp tag, violations in Richmond Heights. He said, but nobody goes and does it the day after. So they're not talking about targeting the people who, it's what's today, June 14th. He's like, if yours expired on June 10th, you're probably not getting pulled over.
You're safe.
Yeah. If yours expired in February, you will.
Or June of last year.
Right, June of last year.
We've seen those too.
Or June 10th of 2019.
I guess I should clarify which year. So what's the more effective program? I mean, the more effective program has clearly been in St. Charles and in North County.
Yeah, that's true.
Because what's your motivation here? You don't want to get a ticket. You don't want to get a fine.
Right.
And for those that say, well, I can't afford the ticket. Okay, well, you can't afford the tax. You can't afford to drive a car.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
do better.
That's life. Go get a better job. There are lots of them out there right now.
Yep. By the way, we're speaking as guys who did all those things. We were short on money at some point, and then we did better, and now we don't have to worry about being short on money on things.
Right.
So we're not talking from on high, essentially, just talking down to people and say, hey, you can do better, poor. Hey, you poors, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, I got some bootstraps that are well worn from the pulling. So
I was a single parent with 3 jobs at one point.
Yeah.
Literally a single parent of 2 children, and I had to work 3 jobs just to just to get by. I've been there.
Right.
So is this not me looking down from my mountaintop perch?
No, this is advice from somebody who got out, basically.
Yeah. I mean, seriously. I mean, an ex-wife who walked off and took the money, and I had to start over. So I've been there, but my tags were current because that's what you do.
You're supposed to do the adulting thing and pay your bills.
So with this program here, what's going to happen is, I mean, I think that obviously let's look at what the balance is. Starting with $315,000. So 6 months from now, you're going to be able to start applying for it, I think, in another month or two. So let's see what the balance in that fund is. If they will tell you it ain't going to be $315,000.
No, because you actually have to pay for the administration of that. So I don't know how they're paying for, because I mean, look, if Sam Page is asking for $1 million to administer a program to freeze property taxes, how much do you think they asked to administer this loan program at a city hall?
Right. I mean, they'll
100,000 of that 300,000 is for somebody's salary to administer this thing.
Yeah, it's and the thing is that there's somebody in there in that city hall who has good intentions.
Right. Sure.
I just want to help. We got to get these things off. This is nobody's doing anything.
It's a problem.
About
We got to fix it.
We got to fix it. And that's what government is for, is to fix the problems.
We got this big pile of money here. Let's do something with it.
Yeah, and a lot of that's probably that ARPA crap laying around here.
Yeah.
But this just shows you when government goes overboard, this is likely to be just another fiscal mess. People aren't going to pay it back.
Nope.
And then he's like, wait a minute, I'm applying for this. Why am I not getting it? Well, we're almost out of money. Okay, we'll add more money to it.
Yeah. Oh gosh. And the salary of the person who administers that program is permanent. They're never getting rid of them. Even if the program goes away, which I mean,
probably should.
That person's going to be in the office. They're part of the baseline budget for their budget suggestions for next year, right? So that's just kind of how it works. It's just kingdom building. It's just people trying to justify their existence in government and pulling money from the public funds in order to do so.
The best case scenario is that it's good intentions and incompetence.
That's the
worst,
best.
That's the best case. The worst case scenario is
it's a Ponzi scheme.
Largest Ponzi scheme, buying votes.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Will Joe Biden let the Trump tax cuts die? Say it isn't so. Jonathan Williams from ALEC at 4:20 to discuss. At 5:20, Patrick Toohey of the Show Me Institute.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Replacing your roof is always a big deal and a big decision. That's why I want you to call my friends, the folks that we've trusted with our homestead, Eureka Contracting and Roofing. 636-938-ROOF. That's 636-938-ROOF. They are veteran-owned, over 30 years of experience in the construction and insurance industry. They'll replace 100% of your roof, siding, fascia, and gutters. They'll come to you with a personal consultation. Give them a call anytime that Mother Nature strikes you. 636-938-ROOF. Available 24/7 at eurekacontracting.com. That's eurekacontracting.com.
Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler, along with daughter Sammy Tobler-Gregory, a team member here at our family-owned Body of Health Direct Primary Care Practice. Sammy, what are patients telling you about their experience at Body of Health?
I can't tell you how many patients I've had come to me and tell me they just so appreciate getting to sit across the table with their doctor and chat about whatever's going on with their healthcare needs for however long they need.
Want to learn more about healthcare the way it ought to be? Schedule a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
I was at the Trump rally Saturday night. He won't give one dime to any school districts that have any kind of vaccine mandate. It would be great to have polio and measles all come back.
I don't believe you went to that rally. Obviously, I'm catching your snark, and you are not a Trump supporter. You're not even a listener to this radio station, so thanks for calling, Lester. I mean, that's not your real name either.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
Thanks for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Radio news junkie. Love every bit about it.
News Talk STL. The 80s.
Excellent.
Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
No, the right stuff. I'm kind of embarrassed I knew that.
You should be embarrassed.
No, everybody knows this song now.
Yeah.
It entered the Zeitgeist somewhere actually 10, 15 years after it was released, and it became so huge that nobody can escape it now.
This was at 90s?
This was, I believe, 89.
89.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, it's 88.
88. Oh,
Yeah.
so I was still. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was in high school. That's right.
It was the beginning of the boy band thing, right?
Yeah.
Basically,
It was kind of.
and because the 90s was like the boy band decade.
Yeah.
Right. So this 88, gosh.
OG boy band.
These guys were what, 12?
Here comes NSYNC. Here comes Backstreet
One of
Boys.
them has a reality show that's a home improvement show. He renovates barn houses.
No way.
Yeah.
That's fun.
The one with the fancy haircut. I don't know. Which
That's all of them, Mike.
Now, an ordinary kid on Father's Day.
Father's Day. It's like Mother's Day light. Come on, is it even a real holiday? I've heard of Arbor's Day, but I'm not giving a gift to a tree. Plus, Dad always tells me that he doesn't want anything anyways. Just some peace and quiet, so he can watch his sports ball. That's fine, I guess. But if the Wi-Fi goes down, I'm coming for you, old man. Just kidding, Dad, I love you. Not as much as Mom, but happy Father's Day.
This has been an ordinary kid on Father's Day.
Father's Day.
Father's Day. Hello, Father. Hello, Mother. Okay.
Alan Sherman reference. Wow.
Yes,
Yep.
I am that old. Yep. All right. Don't forget, News Talk STL. We have the best debate watch party coming up on the 27th. We are teaming up with Freedom Principle Mo, St. Louis Young Republicans, Agers Heating and Air Conditioning to bring you the official News Talk STL debate watch party at Johnny's Hideout in High Ridge. Because when we're watching this exchange between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, what makes our watch party the best?
We have alcohol.
We're going to be in a bar.
And you can jump off a high ridge.
Oh, no.
No? Okay.
You can go out and look at the rolling hills and the serenity.
There you go.
When
Yes.
you're tempted to slam your head into a door.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. Absorb nature.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, well, time-wise, beautiful sunset debate.
Yeah.
Beautiful sunset debate. What do I want to watch?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Take a break from the debate, watch the sunset, and then come back.
And so this one is no reservations needed, nothing like that. We're
Nope.
going to take over Johnny's, and every TV is going to have the debate. So it's going to. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of fun in there. So check that out. It's going to be a good time. I think the value in this is you're going to be networking and you're going to be hanging out and meeting a whole lot of like-minded people out there. It's going to be fun because I have no expectations for this debate whatsoever.
Well,
I have
no,
none.
that's a lot. That's a lie, Mike. We do have expectations.
They're
there are things we expect to happen. We're just
Oh.
making sure not to make a drinking game out of it.
Oh no, because I want my listeners to be alive.
Exactly.
Yeah, geez. All right. The UFL championship game on Sunday. It's just kind of interesting because first of all, you're seeing a big ad campaign by the UFL, and the TV ads look really good, and the social media ads are looking good as well. But they're really being aggressive. And the UFL, there have been published reports, the UFL's trying to not say we're really worried about low turnout on the championship game, but they are. And I've actually had somebody in the league confirm that to me privately. And here's the thing, though. There are people like the fans of the UFL who are looking at St. Louis and mad at St. Louis right now. They're like, wait a minute, you guys have been there 30, 35, 40,000. We're like the annoying fans to the rest of them because we're like, we're better than you.
Yes.
And we only did that though, because we're
better.
than
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Kinda
And
playing
so
there.
they're looking at like, don't let us down, St. Louis. So I don't think that is fair to St. Louis. Now, first of all, if you're one of those, and I'm like, I got stuff to do. I'm going to watch the game, but I really didn't think about going since the Battlehawks aren't there. The tickets as of yesterday, there were some that were being listed now in the 400 level, but like for $4 and $5 each. I mean, the ticket, it's going to cost you next to nothing to go to the game.
Yeah.
And if you do, I recommend you wear blue, wear Battlehawk stuff.
Yes.
But here's the thing: is the reality is that it looks like San Antonio and Birmingham have both failed to bring a fan base to St. Louis for this.
Mm-hmm.
Now they could barely get team fans out to their own games, home games.
Yeah, they were somewhere in the 10,000 range, I think.
Yeah, I think Birmingham, topped out around 12,000.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but that was when the Battlehawks were there and AJ McCarron
was there, yeah.
was playing in Alabama for the first time since he played for the University of Alabama.
And led them to 2 national titles.
Right. And then he got hurt in that game,
Mhm.
unfortunately, which may have changed the course of the league.
I think actually it did,
Yeah.
because his injury played a major role, I think, in the next 2 games. So yeah, it turned out pretty rough. I think, oddly enough, I think the league was rooting for a Battlehawks victory on last week, because that would have changed the game here. That would have meant that you're getting the 30,000 plus.
Oh, yeah. If the Battlehawks were in this game,
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that the Dome would have been legitimately sold out at normal prices.
Right.
I mean, I think it would have looked like an old Rams game. I really think it would have been a sold out thing for a championship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the opportunity to see a championship won in St. Louis by the home team and flip 48,000 middle fingers to Stan Kroenke at the same time.
Oh yeah, that temptation. Yes, absolutely. You're right, Mike, because the thing is the 30,000, fans, weren't always going to be the same 30,000 every week, right? So if you get basically everybody who had attended one game throughout the season and they all showed up on the same day, yeah, you're probably filling the Dome.
Yeah, and here's the thing is I'm still just kind of befuddled by so many. I'm just looking at social media comments, which probably isn't the right thing to do. But some of them are criticizing, like, yeah, St. Louis, you talk a big game. Are you going to be there? Our team's not
there.
Our team's not in the championship. But so again, basically they're saying, come on, St. Louis, you got to carry the league again. And if and when there's a low turnout at this game, people say, see, St. Louis let us down. That's not St. Louis's fault.
No, it is not.
Listen, I'm critical when things need to be critical, and I'm a big Battlehawks fan, but the reality is that this is on San Antonio and Birmingham to get there. I mean,
absolutely.
honestly, and if your argument is that, well, if you support the league, you should go, and I do want to see the UFL succeed, but if it's a matter of you support the league, so you should go, there are 8 teams in this league. If that's the case, then how about 2,000 or 3,000 from each city?
There you go.
Would migrate out to see this game right then and there. That's 24,000 people.
Yeah, support the league there.
Yeah,
guys, come on.
And then your own team, getting a few. But if they have, I said, what's the over under on 20,000? I don't think they're going to be anywhere near that.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I was thinking, somewhere around 10% will travel with the team of the normal fans that will go to the games that are in town, right? So somewhere around 10% of those are diehard enough to make the trip. So, but the thing is, if you're starting at 10,000, that's not a whole lot of people showing up.
And the high water mark for Birmingham was 12,000. So you're looking at 1,000 to 1,200 people. I even think that is overshooting it a little bit, especially on a Father's Day.
Right.
Although I don't, Father's Day isn't observed as much as others.
That's true.
So I don't think that's as big of a deal.
And to be fair, if Dad is a fanatic enough to want to travel,
that's your present.
That's the present. That's what you do.
Yeah. So are there any things UFL could have done differently? The only thing I can think of is give 2 weeks before the next game.
It give us some more time,
because last weekend is when the championship teams found out that they were going to St. Louis.
Right.
So, that's not that much time to make travel arrangements.
Yeah, that's true.
For a lot of people, you got to ask off work if you're going to go, if you're going to stay until Monday and all that sort of thing.
You need to make the hotel reservations.
Yeah, NFL's always done that with the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
you have a week in between.
There's a week in between the two, and some of that's for build up. But the other part is for this, that might have been a better solution. Do it next Sunday. And I understand we're getting actually not that far from the NFL, preseason camps and things like that. But they could have done that. But that's the only critique I would have. And that's not even a criticism. That's just a critique saying maybe give that extra week.
That's what I was wondering too when I
Yeah.
heard that the championship game was going to be right next week. I was like, wait a minute, that seemed a little fast.
Yeah, they were. It sounds to me like they were looking at like the odds makers, and they're like, "Man, this looks good for St. Louis."
Oh,
and
yeah.
They didn't count on AJ McCarron getting hurt, which you
Right.
can never do, because if the Battlehawks were in this championship game, I think the UFL starts next season as a league on a much higher level because they're going to be on national television on Fox. I have a feeling that there are sports bars all over the place. Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the
setting up
Post,
little
and
mini events.
Cybergs, and all of these places. They're going to have decent turnouts for people going to watch the game.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, 314-912-1019. But if and when you've got 8,000 people there or something like that, that is not the fault of St. Louis and not the fault of the St. Louis fan base. Blame San Antonio, blame Birmingham for not traveling and not having a fan base that's supportive enough to get to a road game, especially a championship one. Just my thoughts on that. If you agree or disagree, let me know. 314-912-1019. Barely Bigs on Rumble. Maybe the city of St. Louis could include USFL or UFL playoff tickets with temp tag loans. Well played, Barely Bigs.
I see what you did there.
There you go. All right. Okay, just ahead here. I've just seen a theme, and some St. Louis restaurants got a little bit of a national conversation going, and it has to do with how about showing some class and having a little bit of etiquette, a little bit of dignity.
Yeah.
Have we lost that in our culture, in our society? And then around 7:50, hey, it's Friday.
Not today, Satan's coming
It's
at
going to
you.
be on your way here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Boy, a swampy start to your Friday, but that humidity gradually eases this afternoon and this evening. Still hot, although not as hot as yesterday. Up to 91 this afternoon as the morning clouds move out. Plan on low to mid 80s for your evening plans. Humidity continues to slip a bit. 68 for the overnight low. Saturday, noticeable humidity, but not excessive. Up to 92 in the afternoon tomorrow. But Sunday, Father's Day, it is hot. I'm forecasting a high of 99 with a heat index up to 104. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
To all our incredible supporters, we at the David Dorn Foundation say thank you. Your 5-star online reviews that you recently posted are beacons of encouragement on our mission to assist first responders. And a shout out to Steve Katraba, who reviewed us with these powerful words. The Dorn Foundation continues to fill a need in the public safety community and thereby to the public. Steve, your words are more than a review. They show the impact we're making for first responders. To read more strong reviews, Google the Dorn Foundation now.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
20 years ago, the state of Massachusetts legalized same-sex marriage. Well, advocates say members of the LGBTQ plus community continue to face barriers attaining full legal recognition as parents. A new bill would create a new path to legal parentage for people who have played a role as a parent in a child's life. I have no major issues with that. But there's something else inside that law. Couples that can't conceive a child often either adopt or arrange a surrogate, a woman who will be artificially inseminated by the man. Then she carries, gives birth, and the couple pays the surrogate, and they take the child. But this new law also built inside of it would basically allow commercial surrogacy. Commercial. Do you realize what that means? You could have women getting pregnant just to have babies to sell. Yes, they get pregnant, then sell their babies, like putting them on the auction block, selling to the highest bidder. That is not anything we want to see again. That is a line that should not be crossed.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
My sponsor, Wellington Environmental, has helped thousands deal with hazardous materials. Hospitals, offices, schools, even homes. Here's something new. Wellington now offers dustless blasting. This is just like sandblasting, but without all the dust and emissions. Wellington uses everything from ground glass, walnuts, corn, even dry ice pellets. One university had Wellington remove their parking lot striping because dustless blasting is fast and it does not damage the concrete. So as a business or homeowner, I'm sure you could use this process. Industrial tanks, swimming pools, graffiti on buildings. And in fact, Wellington is blasting a Texaco station that will be revised as an historic building. Check the website for details and photos. WellingtonSTL.com. WellingtonSTL.com.
Tim Jones here, inviting you to join the Veterans Committee of the Eureka Pacific Elks Lodge 2644 as they host a cornhole tournament and BB gun shoot at the lodge on Saturday, June 22nd. For more information, visit eurekapacificelks.org.
My sponsor, McGuire Moving, has job openings for drivers and movers, offering competitive pay. You can be off every night if you want or on the road. You're off every other weekend. Full benefits, insurance, paid vacations. But McGuire is a very good company. So here's a very important requirement. You must excel in making customers happy. Full or part-time job? More information, go to McGuireMoving.com. Apply online at McGuireMoving.com/careers.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL. Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. The 80s. Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young. Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Let's hear it for the boy.
Little Denise Williams.
Yeah. Off the Footloose. No. Was it? Yeah, this was Footloose, right?
Did this show up on Footloose? Because
Footloose or Flashdance?
Gabe might know. I'm not
I'm
sure.
trying to remember. Yeah, it's definitely an 80s movie. I see somebody doing the little 80s kickstep thing to this song. Gosh, I'm gonna have to find the movie.
Yeah, I want to say Footloose or Flashdance.
I think it was Footloose.
That's what I think. That's my initial thought there. All right, is it really that much to ask to say you should show a little bit of basic etiquette and, dare I say, class?
Footloose.
Some Footloose. I was right. Okay. So a couple of St. Louis restaurants are creating national debates over their expectations of customers. They're like, the customer is sometimes wrong, and we're going to set the bar, and if you don't meet it, you're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Get to that here in just a second. Tell you what it's all about. By the way, the Cardinals host the San Francisco Giants on Saturday, June 22nd. And on that day, 25,000 fans age 16 and older are going to take home their own 30-ounce stainless steel Stanley Mutual tumbler. See what they did there?
Oh, wow.
It's a Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup.
Mutual
Cup.
tumbler.
I see what they did there.
So that is thanks to Coca-Cola and Quick Trip. More information at cardinals.com/promotions. I don't know what the big deal is about Stanley Cups. Apparently that's a big thing, Stanley mugs. I don't know what's so big deal about them.
I think just they're well made, so then people, it's like getting a Yeti or something like
Right,
that. It's like a solid.
These are pretty cool.
And also, if you're
Taylor Swift.
if you're an NHL fan,
you want a different
the
Stanley
cup.
Cup.
Yep,
That's
you
right.
want the cup. Sorry. That's all I think about. My wife's Canadian, so if I hear the term Stanley Cup, there's only one cup I'm thinking about.
See, the first time I heard about the Stanley Cup craze, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah,
and
but
then I
it's an
realized
NHL
it's like
thing, right?
big tumblers.
It's like, okay,
but geez,
all right.
Okay, so we talked. It was a couple weeks ago. We were actually ahead of the curve on this because about 2 or 3 days after we talked about this restaurant in St. Louis that said, who said women, you got to be at least 25 to enter. Men, you got to be at least 30 to enter. We're just not dealing with the young riffraff.
Right.
So
I thought it was 30 and 35.
Is it 30, 35?
For the one here in town.
Oh, no, you're right. 30 and
30
35.
and 35,
Yep. 30 for women and 35 for men. That's correct. Thank you. So Bliss Restaurants.
It's a Jamaican restaurant.
Yes. And so and that's got like the rest of the, like, there were people debating this all over the country a couple days after we talked.
Yeah, it made national news.
It did national news. And the thing is that there is nothing illegal about that.
No,
about
of
setting
course
that
not.
age requirement for your,
You're a private establishment. You can set the criteria of who comes in.
Yes. Within some limits.
Yes,
right.
yes. There are protected classes.
Right.
But age is not a protected class.
Correct. And so that's one that they just basically said, we're not dealing with the
the younger
all the younger crowd. Was that an indictment against younger people? Yes,
absolutely.
And this restaurant basically determined in the free market, speaking about it, they said, it is worth it for us to offend that group of potential customers in order to attract others.
Yes.
And I've never been to Bliss Restaurant. I don't know, but apparently they're doing fine.
I've seen some pictures of the inside because I was checking it out because I was
Yeah.
we were actually looking for a Jamaican restaurant to go to,
Oh,
Janet
yeah,
and I,
yeah.
because it's like it's been a while since we've had Jamaican. So
It looked quite tropical.
They have a great decor, best I
Yeah.
can tell, and obviously the clientele is going to be
They're gonna be
an
older.
crowd, so that hopefully a little bit more sophisticated. So I'm looking forward to going. That's on our list of date night
Let
locations.
me know, because I'm curious, especially if they've got a good jerk chicken.
Yeah.
In there as well. Now there's another restaurant here in town, and it is called Beyond Sweet. And I don't know much about that.
Okay.
It's in the city. I know that. But they've decided they're an upscale casual restaurant, which fine. But they have a dress code and they will turn you away. So no tank tops, no flip-flops, no explicit language on clothes.
Okay.
It says they will refuse to seat you. Here's the thing is, you go into a fast food restaurant, wear what you want.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's
It's fast
we're not
food.
talking about that.
Whatever.
But think about like what would be like a medium level of restaurant. I mean, I think of like, the chain places like Applebee's and stuff
yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
You walk in t-shirts, tank tops, shorts, flip-flop. What is that's still there. That's
Yeah, they find that. I mean, it's acceptable to them, but I wouldn't recommend going that way. But
So what if you go into a little nicer restaurant? Think
Okay.
like a Maggiano's or someplace like that.
Okay, yeah.
I've still seen people in tank tops, in there. You look a little out of place, but they're going to take your business.
I think you're right. I mean, they don't have a posted dress code, so refusing you would actually be a bit of a, not quite a violation, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but they want the business. But it's a lot of people. It's casual. I mean, you don't dress up to go to play. I mean, Maggiano's is where Rachel and I had our wedding dinner party after our wedding. But then you look at the ones that say, okay, that level and above, they're saying, you know what, we're tired of this.
Yeah.
Don't wear your gross t-shirt with the language,
explicit
or
language,
the
yeah.
whatever on it. Put some pants on.
Yeah.
Put some shoes on. And it's interesting because quoted in this story here is Dallas Holland, who's the owner of Beyond Sweet. And he says that Dallas says, unfortunately, we have to turn people away due to dress code. Definitely want the mature crowd. We want it to be your place. We just want you to dress the part. We want everybody to come in and feel comfortable. When you allow certain dress codes, it asks for a different type of person. And we're just trying to avoid that type of crowd.
You're exactly right. I mean, that's the thing. When you put a restriction, what you're saying is all the people who would normally fall outside of the restriction or find the restriction too much to comply with, they automatically self-select away from your business. That's great. So you don't have to kick them out.
By the way, they're located at 5143 Delmar, which would put them west of Kings Highway. So a couple blocks north of Washington, where Delmar is there.
Okay.
And
Got it.
west of Kings Highway.
Yeah. Okay. So not really the SLU area, but not too far from there.
Yeah, not too far.
Not too far. Okay. Now, how about this? And then I'm gonna tie all these together here. An Indianapolis restaurant has had to close because a customer of the local community got mad at him because there was a backlash against them announcing that they would be banning children under 5, saying it was for sanitary reasons because some people had literally left dirty diapers on the table when they left, I guess, thinking that you were just when you throw away the plates,
Yeah,
and
just
whatever,
just throw it out with the trash and everything.
Yeah,
when you clear the table.
It was a small vegan restaurant,
Oh,
which means they're going to attract weird people to start with.
yeah.
And people were accusing them of like, you're just banning breastfeeding because apparently there'd been a couple incidents in there. One of the owners was quoted in this article And there was a couple, the Bartlett couple is their name, Gary Bartlett, and I forgot what his wife's name here is, but Tiana Bartlett. She said, "This is not Chuck E. Cheese. This was not made for babies. That's the sad truth." Matter of fact, she said the Bartletts said they are proponents of breastfeeding, but do not feel it aligns with their standards for it to happen at their tables. Tiana says our male customers, they have not come back after they have seen that a couple of times. I'm going to question the authenticity and accuracy of that.
No, yeah.
Can I just point out that
actually,
I don't...
wait a minute. Wait. This is a vegan restaurant.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
so
a different,
look,
a soy boy.
It's a different demographic. You got to think about it. Well, and what's funny too is, when you said they had to close due to the backlash, I was like, why would you have to close? Like what, irate moms are picketing the, a restaurant like this. It's like, and then you mentioned it was a vegan restaurant. It's like, oh, I get it.
They don't have the energy to punch you anyway.
Well, yeah, but their clientele are picky liberals. I mean, just think about it that way. It's like,
that's true.
Just in your mind, think of the last 3 vegans you've ever met and put them all in a room. How long is that room going to stay intact?
I was going to say, and just leave them there.
And just leave them.
Okay, so here's the common theme here. The common theme is that what you've got is basic etiquette and class.
Yes.
And just basic dignity that used to be expected across the board in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have that. So, we talk about, don't be snooty, don't be, with the class warfare. We've had all of this kind of ties together because we used to just expect more of ourselves, and we used to rear our families to just present ourselves better, treat other people with more respect, treat other people's property with respect. And at some point we decided to get away from that. And I say that I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt right now here on Friday, but we got away from that. I mean, for instance, even in areas that had actual discrimination, economic discrimination against them. You look at pictures from Harlem in the 20s and 30s.
Oh yeah.
What did you see?
Through the 50s,
What did you see?
You saw suits,
including the children.
Coats. Yep.
Yeah.
Vests.
Yep.
These wonderful hats. Like I look at the way they dressed back then, just casually going out.
Yep.
Look at the crowd at a baseball game in 1946.
Yep.
Look at the the people getting onto an airplane in 1967. Look at the people going to the movies in the 1930s, 40s.
Yeah.
Those were events. Those were major things. People going to a restaurant.
Baseball games.
Yep. Yes, exactly. So it's like there was this, and with the clothes came an expectation of behavior too, which I think
that's connected.
Those things are related. I think, when I act a little differently when I'm in a suit. Now, granted, I'm at church when I'm in my suit, so I'm acting a little differently too. But certainly, I'm on my best behavior. If you're dressed your best, your expectations that I'm going to act my best to match my image that I'm putting out here.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, do I advocate that we need to go back to? Of course not. I don't think.
No, not necessarily.
I don't think. But it's weird that private businesses should have to tell the customers, show a little class.
Yeah.
And it's not even, I don't sense that they're saying because I'm so important. They're just saying, guys, this is really bad. I mean, you're causing more problems than your money is worth. Show a little class.
Not dropping a dirty diaper on a table in the dining room of a restaurant, I think should qualify as like a minimum level of class.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But people got mad. The vegans got mad at it. So they literally have had to close down and trying to figure out what to do with their entrepreneurial effort. All right. Coming up on 7:50 on Friday.
Not today, Satan.
Just ahead here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Loves me anyway. And maybe he don't dress fine, but I don't really mind.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Cause every time he pulls me near, I just want to cheer. Let's hear it for the boy. Let's give the boy a hand. Yeah.
Have you seen the 2024 Toyota RAV4? Boy, that's an outstanding vehicle. And Ackerman Toyota has one just for you at the best price. Ackerman is the #1 volume Toyota dealer in the area. Want a Camry? Maybe you want something bigger. A Toyota crossover. All the performance of an SUV, but a more compact size. Ackerman Toyota at Hampton and 44. AckermanToyota.com. Ackerman Toyota for life.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Pat Fader of Comprehensive Chiropractic. Doc, I hear you all have a new treatment program for everyone's chronic knee pain.
Tim, that's right. We are helping patients with chronic knee pain by addressing the root cause of their condition.
And what makes your program so unique?
Well, Tim, many programs focus on just one component of the problem, the structural component. Our program focuses on the metabolic and neurological component to complete the picture and improve our patients' outcomes. We get to the root cause of what is driving inflammation in a person's body and address it directly.
For your chronic knee pain and more, visit cchiropractic.com. All information, make an appointment at cchiropractic.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Well, Tommy Two-Tone.
Yeah. Remember the phone number?
867-5309.
Everybody knows that's the phone number.
I think at one point there was a bidding war somewhere for that number. And I'm thinking, you know what you're doing?
You're asking for
Everybody
it.
who gets drunk is going to be calling you at all hours of the night.
He taught you how to ride a bike, to throw a ball and tie a tie. Silly jokes will make him laugh, but don't you touch his thermostat. He's wearing socks with sandals, and he's wearing cargo shorts. If he's not watching poor movies, he's out on local course because he's dead. He's dead. Come on. You know he's dead. He's dead. You know it. You know he's dead. He's dead. Come on. You know. You can call him Padre Papa. Pops to tell you once again. He's dead.
I love it. Now it's the weird, the wacky, and the worrisome. These are the stories that make you sick.
I call the devil.
Oh, hell no. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening. Devil.
Just tell me where to be sure.
Not today, Satan. Not today. Amen.
A doctor who got an ice cream delivered to his house was shocked to find a human finger poking out of it.
No, God, please, no.
What?
No. No.
All right, now it's Dr. Brendan Ferreo, 27, in Mumbai, India.
Okay.
So that's one thing there. Well, he was midway through eating his ice cream when he felt something unusual on his tongue.
Oh, no.
Just let that sink in. Now, when he took a closer look at it, he was horrified to see what looked like a human finger embedded in the dessert. So Mike's face. Brenda's sister immediately reported the discovery to the police, who have since registered a case against the manufacturer. So there was actually a picture with this, and
I don't want to see it.
Yeah, there's like a very long fingernail also on the it was the tip of a finger. It was so gross. So gross.
Man, I about lost it when there was a hair in the salad I bought the other day.
Yeah, imagine a whole digit. Just
No, that's one of the worst ones you've come up with.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And not today, Satan, right there. Look, a California man in our second story was washing the dishes in his kitchen, and he found himself interrupted by a trespassing bear.
Well, isn't that special?
And technically in California, it's a Bruin.
It's a Bruin. Exactly. It's a Bruin.
That's right.
Now, Jason Whitman said he was washing dishes at his Sierra Madre home when he looked to the side and saw a 300-pound bear in his doorway.
Wearing a UCLA shirt.
UCLA shirt. Sir, have you donated to the Alumni Association?
Like in the house?
In the house. Now, as one does in 2024, he grabbed his phone and recorded the encounter and posted it to Facebook. So it's funny. Hello, are you nice? Whitman says in the video. You're in my house. Get out of my house. It's a hilarious encounter. And the bear's just kind of like Poga said. He's like, he sees him.
Yeah.
And he's just not, he's unbothered by the fact that there's a human in this dwelling here. Now, thankfully, the bear did leave without incident. There were 370 recorded bear sightings in Sierra Madre in 2023, with 70 of the incidents involving a bear entering a home. So they say the weather's really nice out there, but it sounds unbearable to me. Yeah. So sorry. I had to. All right. Now in this last one, now this is a little different as we look at the story of an entitled neighbor driving through a woman's property and her much celebrated revenge. Get behind me, Satan! All right. So now sharing via Reddit, an anonymous woman described the wonderful property she and her husband had purchased that had both ocean and mountain views. This sounds super picturesque. Now, with building costs as high as they are, they haven't built their dream home yet, but they used it basically as their own private park. They started noticing tire tracks. They tried putting up a fence, but that was constantly run over. They tried letting grass grow long, but the tire tracks continued. Finally, they decided to take advantage of the tall grass and hide some metal star pickets at just the right angle to make a mess of any vehicle that tried coming through. So turns out tow trucks leave really big tire tracks, but it was worth it.
Yes. I like that.
And the internet rejoiced. We should always try to live at peace with everyone, especially our neighbors, but never mistake patience and kindness for weakness. Because when it comes to entitled people messing with my stuff, you know what I'm saying.
Look on the devil.
Oh, hell no. This can't be happening, man. This isn't happening.
Devil.
Just anywhere to be sure.
Not today, Satan. Not today. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Do you want to get some cheap gas today? Going to tell you how to do it. Think about gas pre-Bidenomics. That's a nice thought.
Oh, yeah. That's nostalgic.
Literally 30 to 40% less than what you're paying right now. You can get that today. At 8:05, we're going to tell you where, we're going to tell you when, we're going to tell you how, and we're going to tell you why right here. 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, I'd like you to get to know Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer. Those are dentists and my dental team, along with their dental team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. You know, whether it's economic value with their dental savings plan and their real concern about giving you value, which is, of course, quality at a great price, or whether it's their personal values, their dedication to absolute precision. I can tell you when I go in and get my treatment there, or just a cleaning, whatever, it's always, I get this feeling, it's like laser-guided precision. Well, yeah, they have lasers, but they don't do that for everything. Of course, it's the right tool for the right job. Whether it is dental implants, whether it's just general dentistry, cosmetic dentistry, and by the way, he can use some Botox in all the right ways for those applications as well. You'll find the greatest of care, the greatest value delivered with people who have real values, the values we share at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. Get to know them by calling 636-978-0226, 636-978-0226, or advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. Charles.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour at townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Correspondent Fatima Hussein reports G7 leaders have agreed to lend Ukraine billions of dollars backed by Russia's frozen assets.
The G7 leaders have decided to create a $50 billion loan for Ukraine using the windfall profits of Russia's central bank funds that have been frozen in Europe for roughly 2 years now. But there has been a lot of consternation between nations about how to unfreeze the money, whether it's legal to do so, and what legal mechanisms could be used to do this with Russia's money. The funds themselves are not being used for this loan. It's the profits on the funds.
At a news conference with Ukrainian President Zelensky yesterday, President Biden said the U.S. will keep helping Ukraine.
There's a lot more money coming beyond what's already come in the other tranches that are available now that we've passed the legislation. So they'll have what they need and get it there as quickly as we possibly can.
And today, the G7 turns its focus on trying to stop human smuggling and human trafficking. Elon Musk is getting back his $44.9 billion Tesla pay package. Here's correspondent Norman Hall.
Tesla shareholders have voted to restore CEO Elon Musk's record $44.9 billion pay package that was thrown out by a Delaware judge earlier this year, sending a strong vote of confidence in his leadership at the electric vehicle maker. The favorable vote doesn't necessarily mean that Musk will get the all-stock compensation anytime soon. The package is likely to remain tied up in court for months. Musk told shareholders the massive payout is not actually cash, and that he can't cut and run, nor would he want to. He also said Tesla is pushing forward with the company's full self-driving system. I'm Norman Hall.
Global shares were mixed after Wall Street touched fresh records yesterday. On Wall Street, Dow futures down 288 points. More from townhall.com.
If anyone with everyday aches and pains, I've got a question. What are you missing out on? Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I am 87 years old, and I am an RN. My PhD work is in anatomy and physiology. I watched your advertisement on TV, and I thought I'll try it for just a month. I have stayed on it. Just think it is a marvelous product.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Swampy start to your Friday, but that humidity gradually eases this afternoon and this evening. Still hot, although not as hot as yesterday. Up to 91 this afternoon as the morning clouds move out. Plan on low to mid 80s for your evening plans. Humidity continues to slip a bit. 68 for the overnight low. Saturday, noticeable humidity, but not excessive. Up to 92 in the afternoon tomorrow. But Sunday, Father's Day, it is hot. I'm forecasting a high of 99 with a heat index up to 104. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shane.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Looking for a cruise vacation? Cruise.com is offering its exclusive sale of the year to all listeners to this station. Every major cruise line, including Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Princess, MSC, and more, are on sale now. Call 1-800-507-9264 and book one of these deals while supplies last. Cruises start from as low as $39 per person per day. There isn't a better vacation value to places like Alaska, Europe, the Caribbean, South America, and more. Call one of the largest cruise specialists in the world at 1-800-507-9264. We'll find you a vacation that includes drinks, Wi-Fi, excursions, and more. Call 1-800-507-9264. That's 1-800-507-9264. Space is limited. Don't miss your opportunity to book the best deal of the year. That's 1-800-507-9264. Sponsored by Cruise.com.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Gabe Pfeiffer.
There's something serious I have to tell you about the future.
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
Will you guys knock it off?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
It's Friday.
Remember the good old days? Now,
which good old days are we talking about?
The good
because
old,
this is Flashback Friday,
that's
right? So
right.
we could go all the way back to the 80s.
Well,
the
and the 80s were the great old days.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't even think it's a controversial statement to say that the best music was made between 82 and 89. I think that's science.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
I think they've done studies on it.
It is. But I'm talking about the good old days when you could go to get some gasoline and not have to take out a credit application or sell your least favorite child or whatever it is that you had to do.
An organ you weren't using.
You just kind of figured on that. So
I got 2 kidneys. I mean, come on.
That's right. So you've got, free market. I'm a free market too.
Exactly.
So you're going to be able to do that today in Franklin County. I'm Mike Ferguson. It's 8:06. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Pontigas here. Hey, quick note. This coming up on Monday, we've got the Jefferson County Republican Club Conservative Showcase. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get more information at jeffcogopclub.com. Yes, I will give you that website here in just a second. Monday, June 17th, I'm actually going to be the MC for this. It's going to feature Republican candidates running for state rep or state senate and also some Jefferson County office seats as well. Great chance for you to hear directly from them, find out where they stand on all of the issues that impact Jefferson County and the entire region and the state of Missouri. It starts at 7 p.m., going to take place at the Hillsborough Community Civic Club. And once again, go to jeffcogopclub.com. All right. Cheap gas. We all like cheap gas.
Yes.
Right. We do. Joined now by Camellia Peterson from Americans for Prosperity, Missouri. And this time you did not come alone, Camellia.
I did not come alone. I brought somebody with me. So Savannah, say your last name.
Zalata Rodas.
Zalata Rodas. Yeah, she just got married not too long ago, so we're
Okay.
still getting used to it. I brought Savannah with me because she is, a lot of people know this if they're in the political realm in the area, but she is the new me in the St. Louis
Right.
area. She's not so new anymore, but so she is the grassroots engagement director for the St. Louis area for Americans for Prosperity. So we're kind of getting her toes in the water here and letting people know who she is.
Well, and we mentioned you and I when you let me know Savannah was coming in here, and I said, listen, I think your first time on air with us here, so I wanted to make sure that we kind of got to know you a little bit. And just real quick, you all focus on economy and everything. So when you look at the geopolitical situation in Guatemala right now, how does that relate to what's happening in the Middle East?
Funny enough, my husband is half Guatemalan.
No way.
A little bit.
Nice
seriously-
attempt at hazing there.
I'm trying to haze you, and I pull that out of my backside, and then you're like, okay, I got an answer for you.
Gotcha.
All right, I'm 0 for 1 on hazing. I'm not good hazing. All right, well, welcome, Savannah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
appreciate
having
you being
me.
here. Okay, so let's talk about what's happening today. Franklin County, right off I-44, MotoMart. So the reason that the gas is going to be so cheap is this is a promotion, not really a promotion, but it's really kind of a statement that you are making, and AFP is really putting your money where your mouth is on this.
Sure. And this is something that we've been doing for a couple of years now. Some people may remember we did this south of St. Louis, a couple of years ago, and then Kansas City as well. It's kind of part of our Bidenomics campaign. And we've talked about that before. And the economy has been in the tank, and gas prices have gone up. Grocery prices have gone up. The housing market is terrible. And it's just, this is a way to kind of turn back the clock and go back to gas prices as they were, before Biden took office, and a way for, AFP to give back to the community and just to kind of help folks kind of feel that impact of what the economy has done for them. Because who remembers, gas at 207?
Yeah.
Right?
Now, Savannah, now, do people, you think, have they really forgotten what 2019 was like, what 2020 was like in terms of how good the economy was, or are they just kind of just like, well, this feels a little off? Is this going to be a major reminder to them about all this?
I think it'll be a reminder, but I don't think they've forgotten either. When I'm just out talking to people, knocking doors, the first thing when we ask, what's the biggest issue you have with government? It's everything is too expensive. You know, they feel it at the gas pump. They feel it at the grocery store. We have 40-year high record inflation. They're feeling all this and they remember it.
Well, and that's not even, you've got the inflation on the national level. It's affecting everybody, but there was also an increase in the taxes on the fuel here in Missouri as well. And that was an interesting debate because it's essentially a user fee. So there are difference of it's all stacks up one on the other. But energy, gas prices, all of this drives so many other things in the economy. So when people come out and they're like, hey, what, $2.07 a gallon?
Yes,
I think is
right.
Yeah. And I want to ask you in a second here how you came to that number, but they come out, they're like, hey, this is great. I get to fill up my tank with this. I'm spending $50 and I'm going to be spending $38 or whatever the case is, $35, whatever it is you're going to save on this. But that's a reminder that extra money is something that normally you would have paid for groceries.
Mhm.
You would have paid to take your family out to eat or something. So it's such a ripple effect on the economy. What's the takeaway other than you're saving some money on gas today? But what's the takeaway you want people to be reminded of, especially in an election year?
Well, I think the takeaway is that we cannot sustain another 4 years of the Biden administration. It's just unsustainable. And the Biden administration comes out and they talk about how that they say we're basically being gaslighted because they
Right.
say the economy is doing great, and whatever.
Bestest
And
ever.
right, all of these talking points that sound fantastic, but I think people are sitting at home and saying, I don't know what you're talking about because I know what I see when I go to the grocery store. And not to mention that, it's like people spend over $11,000 a year per family to maintain the lifestyle that they have right now. And the problem is that our debt is going up. Our debt is skyrocketing. Our savings are plummeting. So that is not a good place for Americans to be in general in the economy right now. And that is, we will be in trouble before very much longer if we keep going down that road.
Yeah, look up some of the recent surveys and studies the Bankrate has done, and they are non-political whatsoever.
Right.
And I've got some friends over there, and they're like, yeah, the personal savings rate, the personal debt to income ratio,
Yes.
people are taking out loans just to stay in their homes and keep the stuff that they need to do.
That's right. And you can't go out and just, buy a house now. I mean, the interest rates have doubled. I mean, it's terrible all around. And it's funny because, the Biden administration, they were touting their Bidenomics, for a long time. And now all of a sudden they've decided that they're going to stop using that term. And we like to think we might have had something to do with that because AFP bought the Bidenomics.com website.
Oh, no way.
And you should definitely check that out because basically they go through and fact check all of the claims that come out of the Biden administration. It's great.
You'd think they would have thought to buy the domain.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I just it's perfect. I just pulled it up and Chef's Kiss. It says Bidenomics, but it's rolling towards the I in Biden is rolling towards an A. So it's bad economics, basically badnomics, and Joe Biden's face on a dollar bill because it's Chef's Kiss.
Well, and what I
Beautiful.
love about it too is like it does all the fact checking through the different subjects, but then you can in each one of those it gives you links. You can drill down deeper, like we've backed it all up.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so jump ball, Savannah, Camellia, who wants to answer this? We're the number $2.07 a gallon, which is what you can buy gas from this afternoon, and we'll give the specifics out. Where'd that number come from?
That came from the average gas price here in Missouri in January of 2021 when Biden took office.
And that seems like a lifetime ago.
It does.
No.
Oh my gosh.
It's been an eternity, right?
Yeah. It absolutely feels like forever. Well, and also I think the price differences makes it feel like forever because whenever you buy those little books from I don't know Cracker Barrel or something, and say, oh, this is how much a house cost back in so and such. It's like, and the prices are so different. It's like, oh wow, back in the day it only cost like 50 cents for a gallon of milk. Now you look at 2019 as super nostalgic numbers, for the groceries. It's like, man, I remember when eggs were like $1. It's something crazy. But anyway, to get to my actual question, do you and again jump ball, how do you find the connection or maybe a disconnect between the way people understand how policy actually impacts their pocketbook?
Well, I think that, especially when you're talking about federal policy, people feel really disconnected from that in general. And you feel like you don't have you're powerless to impact that. So I think that bringing that home to people in terms of, encouraging them to not, 'cause there's just a lot of apathy right now because people are so discouraged and they're like, what's the point? I'm just going to sit at home. And it is true that it's really important that we work on things at our local and state level because that's kind of the last stand, when the federal government's not going to do anything else. We need to have our ducks in a row at home. But, at the federal level, like that, what they want us to do is to, sit down and be quiet. And that's what we need to not do. The people need to keep making their voices heard. They can do that through their, their Congress members. And they can also do that. I tell you, thank you for the segue, but this will lead us into something else that we're doing right now, where, a lot of people are frustrated with some of the things that have happened with elections in the other swing states. And here in Missouri, we have things pretty good sometimes, but you look at the other states and you can't control anything. Well, if we get to the next election and Trump gets into office, he has to have a Congress to work with, or it's pointless. And so one of the things that we're working on at a national level that people here in Missouri can also help with is we are helping in some of those primary races in those swing states because we have got to save Congress. If no matter what happens, like we have to save Congress, and it is definitely at risk right now.
And when it comes to the economy, I'm glad you brought that up because we're talking a variety of levels. A lot of people just think, well, what happens in the state here? It's completely directed by what happens at the national economy, massive effect on it. But also, and Savannah, I'll ask you about this because you're doing the grassroots here in this area right here. I think there's probably a lot of people who say, well, yeah, I want to focus everything on, we've got to win the White House, we've got to win Congress and everything. But what happens in the state legislature and the statewide races matter, even local governments matter a lot as well. So to the point that you were just making, Camellia, a lot of people I think are giving up, like, I'm being overwhelmed by this. I can't afford to keep, the same, manner of lifestyle. I'm picking and choosing which life necessities I can afford at the moment. I'm just going to make do with the rest. So when people are saying, what can I do? What can they do?
Well, I think the first thing that they can do that's the least amount of time is even if an hour or two every month, we host phone banks where they can come in, we feed them lunch, and we make phone calls for 2 hours. And you can contact up to 200 voters in, the state rep races or state senate, or even in a federal state senate race, that you can contact a lot of people. And if we have even 5 people doing that at one time, that's 1,000 voters that are contacted. So for 2 hours once a month, you can make a lot of an impact in a race.
Are you all going to be doing questionnaires and voter guides and things like that again this year?
There will probably be a scorecard that'll come up. That'll probably come out a little bit later. I don't know if that'll be in time for the primary. People can see our scorecard from the last time around as far as like who was a policy champion in that sense. But we have, for example, we've done an endorsement so far in one of the state senate races. So we've endorsed Doug Ritchie for state senate. Yeah. Great guy.
Yeah, he's been on this show a number of times.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. And so he is like, we need people like him who are, fiscal conservatives, and they just have been champions for education. And he's a statesman, right? We need more of that in our legislature. And so there's, when Savannah talks about doing the phone calls and things like that, we are doing those not only, at the federal level for those other races in Congress, but we are also doing that locally for state level races like Doug Ritchie's.
Yeah, see, I'm less concerned about R versus D, and I'm more concerned about free market approach to policy and economy, and that answers so many other questions.
Right. There is definitely a faction, I guess, on the right, so to speak, that kind of tends towards what we might call progressive republicanism, where, they're kind of okay with the government taking over some of those roles and, a little more spending. And it just is, it's kind of scary to see.
Big government's okay if it's Republican big government, but there is there's a big government trend in the Republican Party and in the conservative movement right now. And I mean, how long have I been warning about this jumping up and down? A couple years ago, and I see it coming. We're redefining conservatism. That's like I had Jeff Nelson from the Russell Kirk Center on. They're launching a study of School of Conservative Studies certificate program so you can learn about the thinkers and the economists.
awesome.
And you can say let's learn what the foundation of a free market conservatism is,
because that's
And
the struggle right now, right? Is
Yes.
what does conservatism mean? Like people are, you're a rhino if you're not this or that. And basically what it comes down to is like, if you don't agree, it's this political culture of if you don't agree with me 100% of the time, we're enemies, or you're not
Mhm.
conservative enough, or whatever. And that the meanings of how people identify are just all over the place. And so I've just been thinking lately, we need to sit down and we need to decide, okay, what is the definition? Like if you say you're libertarian, like what does that mean? If you say you're conservative, like what does that mean? And I have a feeling they overlap a lot.
Oh, there is. Yeah, they absolutely should. I mean, my wife, I
Yes.
don't know if you've met my wife yet, Savannah, but
I haven't,
if
no.
not, you are going to run into her at some point. You
Yes.
are.
Rachel's great.
She calls me a conservatarian.
Yes.
That's where
Right.
she puts me in there.
And there's some people are coming back to kind of the term, the classical liberal.
That-
I
well,
think that's good too.
Rachel's
been trying to resurrect that
Rachel
for
is
a
trying to
while.
reclaim that term.
Yeah.
She doesn't use the term libertarian. She's like, I'm going to reclaim the word classical liberal. I'm like,
Yes.
well, good luck with that.
Yes. She's not the only one. So
Yes.
she's not alone in that, at least.
Yeah, because
a lot of stigma with libertarian.
libertarian, and then libertas and liberty, liberal is where
Freedom.
that came from, but we
Right.
think of it as a big government leftist. And she's like, I'm going to reclaim the word. I'm like, no, you're not. But you go, girl. You can
Debbie
do that.
Downer.
I know it is, but she's fighting the good fight in the world of academia. Okay, it's 8:21. You'll have a few extra minutes. So here's what we do: is we always do like a kind of we call it the morning news dump here, and so we always react to the news that I've got. Since I've got two free marketeers in here,
Mhm.
Gabe, let's all just kind of
Oh,
have
yeah.
some fun with what's happening in the news right now.
Absolutely.
And let's do that. And once again, the details of the cheap gas today brought to you by AFP.
Yes.
Yes.
So it is at 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. We're at
At the
Savannah?
MotoMart in Pacific, right off of 44.
Great. And it's first 200 vehicles.
First 200
First 200
vehicles.
vehicles, regular unleaded gas only, and no containers. So
In other words, don't cheat and hoard for yourself. Yes.
Some guy driving up with a gigantic tank.
That's right.
Trailer. He's like, just fill it up.
Yeah. All right. We'll remind people that before the bottom of the hour as well. All right. Camellia and Savannah, thanks so much. We're going to hang around here. Let's do a news dump here right around 8:25 at 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
What are you waiting for? Get up, get up, get up.
So a friend of mine works up at Millwoods Sports Bar and Grill. She invites me up to a Cards game the other day, and I fell in love with this place. First, I got to see the game. Big screen TVs, crystal clear, and they got to be everywhere. Perfect. The food was fantastic, and it was affordable. Now I'm sold, so I head up to Millwoods after a show one night, and the place was hopping. Great live music, DJs, and karaoke. 2 locations in Wentzville and Maryland Heights, just east of 270 on Dorset. Millwoods Sports Bar and Grill, A+.
Hey, barbecue lover, Tony Colombo here for my friend Jonathan Heslop and his company, Rockwood Lump Charcoal. If you're like me and log a lot of hours behind the barbecue pit, make sure you have a bag of Rockwood by your side next time you grill. You don't have to use nearly as much Rockwood charcoal as traditional briquettes, so your bag lasts longer, plus it burns cleaner, faster, and more evenly, providing a superior grilling experience. Use it once and you'll never want to use anything else. Rockwood Lump Charcoal is available at over 100 area locations. Find the closest one to you at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
This is 1019 and 94.1.
You millennial Trump supporter. I listen to it like every day. Like, seriously, you get it.
News Talk STL. The 80s. Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young. Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where are the beats?
It's Flashback Friday.
Wake up, America.
It all worked out.
You know, I mean, they got all the news.
The morning news dump.
That was an awesome 80s request.
You took 2 notes on that one.
That was The Cult.
Yes.
That was Firewoman off their
Mhm.
Sonic Temple album, which was an awesome album.
It was a good one.
On this Flashback Friday. All right, here's what's happening. St. Louis, the city government is setting up a fund to pay for residents' late property taxes. So the government is going to loan money to people to pay the government the property taxes and also give them money to pay the fees to get their license plates. So once again, this government is going to give people money to give to the government so they can get their tags updated, and then also give them money to pay for auto insurance so that they're going to get rid of all of these temp tags, or so they say.
Ladies,
yeah.
what do you think?
Here we go. Here's what's going on.
Just-
Oh, but wait, there's more. Okay. The Board of Estimate and Apportionment gave the final approval for the program on Thursday, and they're setting aside over $300,000 for a loan program. City officials say it's to get drivers legal and get rid of temp tags and reduce the number of uninsured drivers. The program is going to give interest-free loans that they say will all be paid back by the people who haven't paid their tax or insurance bills in the first place.
Well, for starters, even if they give them money to get their temp tags, that means they have to go to the DMV anyway, right? So that's probably not going to happen regardless who wants to go to the DMV. Like, this is like government efficiency at its finest, right?
$315,000 in a program, and they say, well, it's once we loan it out to them, they're going to take care of all of that, and then they're going to come give us the money back.
Sure they are.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, jeez.
I think we should just lower the property taxes.
There you
To
go.
like
Yeah.
nothing.
It's almost
And
like
be done with it.
How long have we had Democrats in charge in St. Louis City?
Since 1949, yeah.
It's almost
Oh my
like
gosh.
something's not working with the policies
Yeah.
to begin with,
Yeah,
right?
imagine
You know,
that.
something like that.
It's kind of weird. I wonder what it could be.
I know. Is there a variable in there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. All right. House Speaker Mike Johnson was on Hannity last night on Fox, and he was kind of recounting the meeting that Donald Trump had with congressional Republicans. He went to Washington, D.C., and that was the first time Trump had been at the Capitol since he left office.
We got to make those tax cuts permanent because they're going to expire soon, and that'll be the largest tax increase in U.S. history if we don't fix it in next year. And we've got to get to getting the regulatory state under control. Under Joe Biden, they've weaponized the agencies and smothered American business in the free market. We can reverse that.
Yeah.
President Trump's ready to do it.
Okay, so Camellia, that's what you were talking about earlier with the need to focus on congressional races in addition to the presidential race.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, it's so good to hear them talk about free market principles, because even if they don't always do it, like if we lose that in the rhetoric that we hear on a day-to-day basis, like that needs to be part of our conversation, is the value of this free market principles and, you know, bringing back those tax cuts that we had in the last administration and making them permanent. And we need a Congress to make that permanent by legislation, because the problem with doing all of these things by executive order is that you can undo them, just like we saw Biden do with the stroke of a pen, and and we're all suffering because of it.
And Savannah, you've been talking to people about, you know, and they've been complaining about all the increase in their costs. Imagine now their taxes go up on top of it.
If the taxes go up, plus the inflation, plus gas prices, grocery store trips, I mean, we're going to see far more people become lower income, or we're going to see a rise in homelessness and all of these things that are just awful. And so we need those tax cuts to become permanent.
And let me also say that the presidential race right now, let's be honest, a lot of this is personality driven.
Sure.
I hate that guy. So therefore I'm backing this guy, or I like this guy because he hates that guy. When you're looking at the congressional races, you're looking at the legislative races, the actual ideologies matter a lot
Yes.
more.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. And that's where I think people, and especially in the primary, like you have a lot more control over who you get into Congress. And I know people talk about wanting term limits. And the thing is like, we are the term limits, right?
Yeah.
If we're doing our jobs, we are the term limits. So that we, the people, that's the way our country is supposed to work. So, this is the opportunity to have a voice and a say. And I will say, when you talk about, say, Missourians helping people in Pennsylvania, it's not just that, we need to have any control over what Pennsylvania does, but what we can do is help people know that there's even a primary election coming up, because there's still a bunch of people who don't even know, like getting people out to vote is half the battle, maybe more than half.
Yeah, exactly. Stella, I got time for these sports stories here. Okay. The UFL is not saying it out loud, but a source in the league confirms to me that they are concerned about attendance at this weekend's championship game at the Dome in St. Louis. Now, remember, the Battlehawks averaged over 30,000 fans per home game, at one point over 40,000 fans early in the season. Neither of the teams in the championship drew anywhere near that for their home games. San Antonio Brahmas play the Birmingham Stallions Sunday at 4:00. Many tickets are still available as of last night. Many were listed under $10 for a championship game this weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's simple. They should just market it as a Father's Day present.
Right?
And more people will come out, cheap tickets, and the dads never have to know. The kids can buy cheap tickets and take them out for Father's Day.
I actually have some friends who are doing exactly that, Savannah. They're doing that. One of my buddies like, yeah, I'm taking my dad to the football game. He goes, it's Father's Day. I'm just going to take him out there. So that's the thing. And the thing is that we were talking about this a little bit earlier, in that the whole league has basically been on the shoulders of St. Louis, which has shown up for the games and has watched the broadcast on TV. And so economically speaking, the UFL is saying, okay, they probably took a loss this year because every other market, they didn't get the numbers. And so they're looking at St. Louis right now with their advertising, say, guys, we need you to show up. And I'm arguing San Antonio and Birmingham, you need to show up. That's the whole point of trying to host something, is that you bring those visitors in. All about the numbers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. And also the Cardinals win the series over the Pirates. They move back into second place in the division, at least for the time being. Redbirds are 6.5 games behind the Brewers. That's a half game ahead of the Reds, who are a half game ahead of the Cubs, who are, as you guessed it, a half game of the Pirates.
A little bit of a tight race there.
Every single game is going to completely reshuffle the deck in the league's most weak division.
Yeah.
All right.
Kind of how it is.
8:32 right now. Savannah, Camellia, great to see you all again. Thank you so much.
Thanks
Good
so
luck.
much for having
Once
us.
again, this afternoon, 2:00 to 4:00. Where again?
MotoMart in Pacific.
Yep. You can get gasoline for $2.07 if you're one of the first 200 vehicles between 2
That's
and
right.
4:00. All right.
No
talk to you again.
containers.
No containers. Be
Dang it.
nice. Spread the pre-Bidenomics around to other people.
Exactly.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Start to your Friday, but that humidity gradually eases this afternoon and this evening. Still hot, although not as hot as yesterday. Up to 91 this afternoon as the morning clouds move out. Plan on low to mid 80s for your evening plans. Humidity continues to slip a bit. 68 for the overnight low. Saturday, noticeable humidity, but not excessive. Up to 92 in the afternoon tomorrow. But Sunday, Father's Day, it is hot. I'm forecasting a high of 99 with a heat index up to 104. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt
Commentary.
Illegal aliens with links to ISIS were caught roaming sanctuary cities. Feeling safe with that open border yet? I'm Tommy Laren. More next.
Hi, I'm Ron Kraszewski, Chairman and CEO of Stifel. Financial advisors, let's face it, if you're not growing your practice, you're losing market share. Stifel is a growing, entrepreneurial, advisor-centric firm built for successful advisors like you. There's a reason why 148 financial advisors joined Stifel last year. Come join us and find out why Stifel is the firm where success meets success. Visit www.choosestifel.com.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
This week, thanks to the relentless work of ICE agents and the FBI, 8 illegal immigrants linked to ISIS were arrested in New York, LA, and Philadelphia. All 8 men hail from Tajikistan, and all have come through our southern border illegally this year. But Biden's DHS says they were vetted and allowed to remain in our country. But upon further investigation, it was uncovered they have ties to ISIS. And that's the exact reason why we shouldn't be letting these people into our country at all. Why are we a charity case for the rest of the world and put our own citizens at risk in the process? This is beyond self-sabotage. This is treason. You'll notice these possible terrorists went to sanctuary cities, but despite that fact, the voters in those deep blue sanctuary cities will still undoubtedly vote Democrat. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor, Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey, Columbo here for the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Summertime in St. Louis means things like family gatherings, barbecues, and graduation parties, and Zero Res knows how important it is to have your home as clean and healthy as possible for your friends and family, so they're kicking off summer with an amazing offer. Book a cleaning in June and mention the Columbo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $50 off an air duct cleaning. Just mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
So we finally got the parts for the time machine. Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s. Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks. Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com. Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa. 90s New Country streaming now. Free speech is alive and well in America.
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
Right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president. We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
And then the media.
1019 and 94.1.
They lying about what's going on in America. They lying about it.
News Talk STL. The 80s.
Excellent.
Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Pointer Sisters, jump.
We did a lot of jumping in the 80s.
We did. Van Halen jumped. The Pointer Sisters jumped.
Yep.
I can almost picture the video right now.
Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Father's Day is Sunday. What do I get for the man who has everything? And by everything, I mean he has all he wants. Like his old beat-up t-shirts from college. And even though I buy him underwear, he prefers the old ripped-up pairs. He calls them broken in. So this year, just wrap up some of his old shirts and underwear. He'll love it. All right, I'll take him to the brew house, too.
There you go. Yes. we like our old clothes, but we like our beer new and fresh.
That's right. It's kind of funny because when I played that early this morning, and I'm like, I actually have T-shirts that are probably 20 years old, maybe even older than that. Yeah,
I've got some that are probably 40 plus years old.
Oh wow.
What is it about our T-shirts that we don't want? And the funny thing is that my wife's on. She goes, "It's time to throw this away." And I'm like, "No,
You can't do that.
She's like, "There are holes in the armpits." I'm like, "Then I'll use it to."
That's ventilation. Don't touch it.
Don't touch it. It's fine.
I
But
guess
I can't throw it out. I'll never wear it again, but I can't throw it out.
Or I'm like, my standard go-to is, hey, that's for workouts.
There you go. It's an around the house shirt.
Right. Yeah. It's but like I have a T-shirt from my old judo dojo, my dojo club, judo club, my old dojo. And I love that shirt. It's very simple. It's just I have a lot of great memories with those guys. And I don't want to throw it away. But literally, it's so old. The seaming is tearing out under the arms and around. It's fraying around the collar because I've worn it so much. I mean, I literally wore that to my training and my workouts, and I don't live there anymore, and I don't want to give it up. But I'm kind of blessed. I mean, with Father's Day coming up, I have never been one. I don't want to make a big deal about Father's Day.
Yeah, same.
You know, Mother's Day is a much bigger deal.
Sure.
You know, and I try
to everybody.
I try to make sure that we treat Rachel. You know, treat her to the nice stuff, and her boys do a really good job of that. My daughter, because Rachel's really the only mom that my daughter has known, even though Rachel and I have only been married, for 6 years, because my kid's mom left when Amber was 4. And so for Father's Day, I got a call from my daughter the other day. I think I mentioned, she's like, okay, we're going to do brunch on Sunday. And then we're going to do this. And I want to know you're off. And I'm like, Amber, that's a lot.
It's
I don't care. We're doing it. So I wasn't even asked what I wanted to do.
No, you were told.
I was told.
Yeah. You were told what was happening.
Right.
What was going to happen to you.
Pretty much. Yeah, exactly. And that's, I appreciate it.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
But it's kind of funny because when moms, I'm going to stereotype here based on gender, based on sex.
Yes.
When a mom says, I don't want anything. I'll just have a nice quiet day. It's fine. Do not believe
No.
a second.
She does want something.
Ladies,
she wants stuff.
We know you're full of it.
And
when you
time.
say that.
And all the things. Yes, she wants all the things. Even though she's saying she doesn't, she actually does.
Right.
Now, when fathers say it, however, we're serious. There's no game being played here.
Yes.
It's just the male directness that's coming at you right then. It's
Right.
like, literally, I don't want another tie. I don't need another T-shirt. I got my old one.
Yes,
you know,
right.
you know what I mean? It's like you if you pick out a tool for me, it'll probably be the wrong size or the wrong brand. It's not going to take the batteries that I already purchased. Just don't do it. Just leave me alone.
Yes.
Give me some time to myself. Maybe take me out for a steak.
Sure.
That's it. That's all I want.
Without a doubt.
And I'm serious.
Yeah. But see, when guys say that, generally speaking, we're not going to, by the end of the day, it's like, well, they didn't do anything. No. That's what we told you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We're not lamenting. Like, if you actually followed our instructions when we gave them to you, a month ago, it was like when we were asked, we would be happy with that. Yes.
Yeah. And honestly, the older I get, and this isn't just like Father's Day, it's about I value the time more than anything else.
Yes. Yeah. If there's anything you're gonna do, spending a little time with me is cool. But as also know your dad. If your dad's a super extrovert, maybe you got to spend the whole day with him.
That's right.
If your dad's like us, a meal, talk to me for a few minutes while we're eating, then leave me alone.
And if your dad's the big extrovert, go to the game.
Go to the game. Yes, absolutely. Get him some tickets to go to the Battlehawks game. My wife was asking me about this. Like, are you sure you don't want to do the game for Father's Day? And I'm like, yeah, but it's gonna be so people-y. like that was legit my response.
Maybe it's not.
Well, that's a good point.
I mean, you might have a whole section to yourself.
True.
In the dome.
But even if it's only as big as the dome is, even 5,000 people is basically nothing for the dome.
Right.
But 5,000 people is still a lot of people to me.
That's right. But they're over there.
Yeah, I know. But mainly the thing is, if the Battlehawks were there, I would suffer through the people-iness.
Yeah, I would. If the Battlehawks were there, then I'm competing to get a ticket.
Exactly.
And maybe people like me is part of the problem right now with the UFL. But the UFL, is any success they have. I mean, I don't think I'm overblowing this.
Mhm.
Is because of St. Louis. Is
Yes.
because of the market. We said that when they announced the championship game was going to be at the Dome. It's because the fan base turned out. So the league is looking to the fan base, going, guys, do me a solid here. Kind of show up. And the fan base is saying, we have done you a solid 5 straight times.
Yeah.
The rest of the league is not doing you a solid, because when you look at, for instance, the Michigan Panthers, they're playing at Ford Field, where the Detroit Lions play, which was not a good choice.
No, that's a really big.
That was a bad
venue.
choice because that is an NFL venue, probably seats, I don't know, still we think 60,000.
I'm guessing 70.
60, 70,000, something like that. You're drawing about 10%.
Oof.
There. Now I remember
78,000 at
78,000. So 80,000 right there. And you're drawing 8 to 10,000. So 9 out of 10 seats are open. I don't know what other colleges are in Detroit, but it would have been better to find some Division II college with a stadium that seats about 10 or 11,000 and pack the place. That's what the MLS has done very, very well, is that they've gone in and they've said, we're going to build stadiums that we know we're going to fill. And some people aren't going to be able to get tickets because this is what the market calls for.
Right.
And then we're going to fill it so it becomes the thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a forced scarcity thing, basically.
Right.
It's like, hey, if you limit the supply, then you can charge more, right?
Because the demand is
either maxed or above. Right?
You assess what the demand's going to be,
right?
And then you maximize that. But it also looks better, creates a vibe. It's I have not been to a St. Louis MLS game. I doubt that I'm going to go. Soccer's okay, but I've been to some MLS games over the years, but I just haven't been in a while.
So if you got tickets for Mike to go to a soccer game, he might go.
It's fine. I saw some Sporting Kansas City games. I went and actually saw a World Cup qualifying game one time, which was a lot of fun to see. That I played soccer as a kid. I like soccer, but when you look at the MLS, I remember, for instance, probably, 25 years ago, maybe almost 25 years ago,
back in the St. Louis Steamer days.
That's right. The Steamer days. There was, this was the early version of the MLS. So that was Steamer
Ambush, maybe. I can't remember.
Well, that's indoor.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if you haven't been to those indoor games, those are a blast. Those are so much fun. So actually the indoor folks, I'm like, hey guys, let's talk. Let's I'd love to partner up with them for next season. That would be go. If you have not gone to one of those games, have you ever been to one of those?
I haven't.
So much fun.
Okay.
So much fun to go to.
Steamers used to pack out.
They did.
The arena, whatever it was called back then.
Now it's in the family arena for, I think it's at the Ambush, and they brought back the name, and it's a lot of fun to go see.
Was the outdoor team the Stars, maybe? St. Louis Stars?
What were they? That was like, what was the North American Soccer? What was
something like that? North American Soccer League.
I hate to say
that's right.
Yeah. But I went to an early, what's now Sporting Kansas City. And it was called, before that, they were called the Kansas City Wizards. Prior to that, their first season, they were called the Kansas City Wiz.
Oh, no. Why though?
They learned very quickly that was not a good idea.
Why did you do that?
But the point being made, people were like, "Who's coming into town? The Salt Lake Poopies? Who's going to play you the Kansas City Wiz?" It was a bad move. But they played their first games at Arrowhead Stadium, which seats 80-some thousand people. Well, they drew 20,000 to a game, but at Arrowhead Stadium, it looks empty.
Sure does.
And so that's what the UFL is concerned about, which is why in St. Louis, the Dome is the right place to be, because 30, 35, 40,000 people are going to show up to a Battlehawks game. But at Ford Field in, Detroit, or, the stadiums they play at in other places, they got stadiums that were too big.
Yeah.
So get the smaller ones. You're spring ball. You're not the NFL. You're not competing with the NFL. You're not trying to be the NFL. You are what you are, and you've got a good product. So make sure that it fits for everybody, because part of the experience isn't just what's happening on the field. Part of the experience is what's happening in the stands. You go to a Cardinals game right now, and they're having very low attendance by Cardinal standards.
Right.
It's kind of a drag looking around seeing empty seats.
It is. Yeah.
And on the other hand, St. Louis SC At City Park, you get 18 to 20,000. It's packed.
It's packed.
And it's fun, and it's a great time.
In your old neck of the woods, you go to Wrigley Field. That is not a big stadium.
38.
Yeah, that's one of the smallest in Major League Baseball, but it's full. And it's got a vibe to it. They got the whole Wrigleyville thing happening around it.
Yeah.
So that matters in the marketing. That matters. And so I think that obviously the city was hoping for kind of a big economic boost, and it's just not going to happen.
No, we're not going to be importing those people. Maybe they'll make some adjustments before next season.
Yeah, even if the Battlehawks were there, even filling the dome wasn't going to be that big of a bump because they were going to be from here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right, 314-912-1019. This is 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
No matter how big the event, Capriotti's can take care of all of your business or personal catering needs. With party trays, box lunches, a meatball bar, shareable salads, plus desserts and sides. Easy ordering is available via the Capriotti's app. Check it all out at capriottis.com.
Tim Jones here, inviting you to join the Veterans Committee of the Eureka Pacific Elks Lodge 2644 as they host a cornhole tournament and BB gun shoot at the lodge on Saturday, June 22nd. For more information, visit eurekapacificelks.org.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
A public school teacher takes a child to an abortion clinic during school hours without notifying the parents.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. The 80s. Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young.
Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Fire the beat.
It's Flashback Friday.
What are we looking at, Mike?
Okay, I don't mean to do the inside baseball thing here. We've got a bunch of monitors in the studio here.
Yeah.
And we're looking at one of the local TV stations.
I guess
here.
it's pickleball?
Something about pickleball, but what in the world is?
I think that's a man.
I'm going back and forth.
I don't know.
Because we have a there's an inaugural professional pickleball league.
Yes.
And the St. Louis has a team.
Yeah, and they're promoting the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, which is I get that.
So some pictures, it looks cool. But one of the spokespeople sitting there on the couch with, I guess, whoever the newscaster is covering this thing, there was a close up on him, her, and it's very smooth features, well done makeup.
Oh,
long hair.
Okay, it's a Pride themed pickleball tournament.
Okay, all right.
That's
okay,
what
now
it
I get
is.
so that is a man.
Yeah.
Tower Grove Park.
Yeah. Okay.
Tomorrow.
So
or July 15th. Sorry.
Because when you think of gay pride, you think of pickleball.
I guess.
What?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, that's a guy.
That's a lot of rainbow stuff there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, there we go. There's the photo shoot, and that's the most important part. Yeah,
I didn't know.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, listeners. But
Many things.
But it assaulted our eyes. So we watched it. So now you have to hear about it. That's basically what happened. So yeah, it is what it is. It is still Pride Month. That is still a thing. So we're going to be constantly bombarded by the Rainbow Mafia and whatever it is they're promoting.
Yeah, because we're now, but we're halfway through.
We're halfway through.
And what's funny is that even amongst, I think, like a lot on the left, but at this point, it really is starting to run out of steam.
Yeah, it's grating on people.
Yeah, because even those who were, on board
Mm-hmm.
with it, they're like, okay, we get it. I mean, it's
Right.
not sacrosanct. You can't have a 30-day turn. You can't have a 30-day holiday for anything.
And really, it's not just 30 days, because if you total up everything that has to do with the LGBTQ, et cetera, community, it's about 147 days during the year.
Yeah, with every
all the
individual
visibility
thing. Yeah,
stuff and
yeah.
everything else.
I
And
was just about to say that
Okay.
because somebody on my timeline kind of added them all up. And yeah, it was somewhere. It was either upper hundreds or somebody suggested it was actually 200 if you add
Wow.
some of the international days. So most of the year there's a celebration of some sort
of sexual preferences,
Right. and quote unquote queerness.
Yeah, I saw, and this was one of the snarkiest things I saw on the internet. Somebody had put up a thing like, I guess the Biden administration had some sort of acknowledgement, or they did some sort of marking a day of something had to do with Black history. It was some event, probably some anniversary or something.
Juneteenth.
Well, it wasn't Juneteenth.
Okay.
It was that's coming, but it was like some observance of something of Black history, and somebody commented, "Not right now. This is the gay month."
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's constant. It's a constant bombardment. I think that maybe what the problem is. It's like, how do you claim oppression when, major companies are all coming out in solidarity with you? They all make these massive grandiose statements of solidarity. They're flying your flag over state capitals. There are international
Flags at
conferences and
embassies.
Flags at embassies are
Yeah.
showing up.
Yeah, you're right.
You've got major figures in every corner of the various political movements kind of coming out and to your defense at every turn. How do you claim any sort of oppression at that point?
And the idea that people are not as on board with it, I know that there are people on the left who are like, see those right-wing bigots. No, people are just tired of y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, have your parties, do your thing. Adults go. Well, I don't care.
Monkeypox
but
piles.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, do your thing. I
Yeah.
mean, whatever. I don't care. But at some point, we're tired of it. The same way I get tired of Christmas.
Right.
How often do we complain that it's like, come on, we haven't even had Halloween and I've got Christmas stuff assaulting me already.
Right.
I'm tired of my own stuff after a while.
Exactly.
So I'm tired of your stuff after a long time as well. So, people are just kind of done, kind of bending the knee going, oh, I know we have to acknowledge it. It's sacrosanct. No, it's not. We're tired of it too. Just saying.
Because truth matters.
Let's speak that truth.
Because understanding matters.
Let's break this down.
With all that's happening,
And it's happening a lot faster.
what matters most is,
The only question that matters here.
are you informed?
Important issues that are facing this country.
Depend on us.
The latest events.
The information you need
Here are the facts.
when you need it.
We always have great conversations.
You guys have a great radio station.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
Looking to get a new carpet, hardwood, or tile installed quickly and efficiently in your home? Look no further than Michael's Flooring Outlet. Michael's Flooring Outlet is a family-owned and operated business with a 30-year history of offering a diverse array of high-quality options in flooring. My parents and in-laws used Michaels to rip up their old carpet and replace it. They are both happy with the product and installation from Michaels. You can shop at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Darting Prairie, or St. Peters, or you can check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Are you concerned about the future of America, the economy, the courts, threats to our freedoms? Chris Arps here. Join News Talk STL for Saving America 2024, June 25th at the St. Charles Funny Bone. Hear from renowned experts Joel Griffith and Zach Smith of the Heritage Foundation as they analyze the critical issues facing our nation and provide insight into securing America's prosperity. Secure your tickets now at newstalkstl.com before they sell out.
Brought to you by West and Mid Rivers News Magazine.